The Fan is live and local with Fan Sports Saturday. The Fan Sports Day of the Week. Oh, this is some clever branding. Here's your host, Place Name Here.
Yes, place name here. That name today is Tito. I'm Jeff Fidoff. To my right, Tim May. You like Seabart or Colbart better? Which one do you like there, Cole? I know you talk about going to Colbart. Do you like Seabart or Colbart? Seabart sounds like sea bass a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go Colbart, but by a hair. I could go either or.
Why does everybody need a nickname? Why can't it just be Cole?
Because Cole's got his last name is too hard to say. It's too long.
Yeah.
I said, why can't it just be Cole?
It can be Cole, but
not all of us have the name Tim May.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Tim May. Right, very easy name there. Tim, how are you today, my friend?
I'm pretty good. Tito, I was in here last night from 6 to 8 on Buckeye Show with
you and Tyvis.
With Tyvis. We covered a lot of ground, and I'm fired up about doing it again. Before I came in, I had to put the drive belt back on my for want of another term, zero turn, and it came off just as I was trying to finish. So last night I got home and in the dark, put it back on, and then mowed my yard, the rest of my yard in the dark.
But you had a light on the...
Yeah, I did. I put a light. I have a light that I can put on the front of my 54-inch mower. But, you figure you're going to get 2.5 acres done in about 100 minutes, and it took me total, probably cumulative, 5.5 hours.
Look at that.
Counting the 2 hours I was on the show.
See... That's you're a real man.
Yeah,
no, because you do that. Yeah, that's a real man thing to do.
I sure am, boy.
I did not bother to learn any of that stuff, and it haunts me to this day.
Really, I love working on stuff. I just don't like it breaking while I'm using it.
I was busy playing Batman as a kid, and then following sports also. So I
did that too.
Yeah, but you got that kind. I wouldn't know where to begin. I spend so much money on getting other people to fix things for me.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I can't stand to do that.
My wife is more of a man than I am.
The problem with fixing stuff is, like, I've rebuilt a washing machine. I've rebuilt a dishwasher because I'm cheap. And number two, I'm curious about how stuff works. And the thing about it is, when you do it once, it takes you forever. But then you don't really have to do it again if you do it right for a long time. So all that knowledge you accumulated about digging into something and fixing it, it'd be like a surgeon only doing one hard bypass every 6 years. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He'd be a little, quote, rusty, end quote.
We got a big show lined up for you today. Jaron Birmingham is going to join us at 10:30. Talk about Ohio State football there a little bit. We'll also have John Gerber on to talk golf betting and where he's at. He's actually on the grounds at the RBC here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's out there. We get a live report from that.
Love that golf course. Love that tournament, man.
Albert Breer joins us at 11:18, it looks like, for us. And we'll see what else we have. A lot of draft talk today, some college basketball talk as well. But transfer portal stuff also is going on. There's a lot happening there in the world of sports here on this Saturday. But as you heard in the update there, the Reds get the win over the Orioles 8-3 last night. A home run by Ellie De La Cruz. And today they play at 4:05 at Camden Yards. Hunter Green opposes Brandon Young. Have you been to Camden Yards before, Tim?
I've been by there several times, but never been to a game there. I've promised my son Corey, my middle kid. It's hard to whenever I refer to Corey, it's hard for me to know what to say about him because I call him my number 2 son. That's like I'm ranking him, behind my first son Kyle. Yeah. But he's my middle kid. Corey is because of my daughter Caroline. But with my son, let's just put it that way. My son Corey, who, by the way, is the second son of the second son of the second son of the second son. That's kind of interesting.
Like a biblical thing there. There you go.
Yeah, but that takes too long to say. But we planned a long time ago just a tour of all the major league ballparks we could drive to, and we've yet to do it. And, I'm 71. He's 34, going on 35. So got to get it done sooner rather than later.
That's one thing I always want to do is to do something like that. And I also I still haven't been to the Baseball Hall of Fame yet. I got to do that as well. But
but Camden Yards, I've always wanted to see that because I covered games, Indians games against the Baltimore Orioles in that old Memorial Stadium, which was kind of reminded me of a smaller version of the old Cleveland Stadium.
Municipal, yeah.
Neither one of which were endearing's the wrong term, but that. Like I said, if Bob Feller and Jim Brown hadn't played at Cleveland Stadium, you wouldn't hold it in high esteem because I thought it was a dump. and it was always half empty. You know what I mean? But
They were lucky if they were half empty. Yeah.
Paul Hoynes and I one time. I think we counted 674 people there at a game. I think it was polka night, and it was about 35 degrees, and it was just an awful place to go watch a baseball game in the spring. But yeah, Camden Yards, I've always wanted to see the modern ballparks. I mean, I grew up during my eras when they started building those multi-purpose stadiums.
Yeah, straight stadiums. Veterans,
like the Astrodome,
Riverfront, Three Rivers, yeah.
But the Astrodome, which was football and baseball, and I thought it was a pretty good baseball park. Football-wise, I'm surprised 10,000 guys didn't lose their knees in that stadium. And Riverfront, Three Rivers, those were all stadiums that were multi-purpose. And I'm
There's
glad
no
that
more
era.
of those, are there? I don't think there's any more. I think the last one in Oakland was the last one.
Yeah, Oakland, I think, was the last one. And, they're just loved because everybody had them. I mean, San Diego, just everybody.
Every team did have that, yeah. It's if you ever want to, by the way, Memorial Stadium.
Atlanta.
You bring that up about Memorial Stadium. If you ever want to see how bad that stadium was, go back and look at the 1979 World Series. Find it on YouTube. And they had they had a rainy night before or something, and look at how bad that field looked when they were playing a World Series game. I mean, every step you took, you saw water splashing up. They had some of that mound dry stuff, or whatever you call it. I don't know, the dirt dry, whatever.
Diamond dry.
Diamond dry. Thank you very much, Cole. That you see on the field that you use like for Little League games if you're trying to get the field ready for that. So that you can go watch that. Hunter Green pitching today for the Reds. He is in his last 22 and 2/3 innings has 23 strikeouts, 3 walks, allowed 1 run on 9 hits. He's been on fire lately. Guardians beat the Pirates 10-7. They played 4-5 today in the Steel City. Ben Lively goes up against Paul Skeens. The Crew are playing in front of the home crowd, but not really. They're in Cleveland to take on Inter Miami and Lionel Messi at 4:30 today. That bothers me.
It bothers me too, man.
The Crew have some of the most loyal fans here in the Central Ohio area. And I understand why the Haslams want to do this. I get the reason why. But you're pissing off more people than you're pleasing.
Maybe.
I think that the one game Messi's...
Well, for example, there's going to be 3 times as many people as can fit into the Crew Stadium. So you're actually appeasing more people because you're getting 2 times or 3 times the
crowd for one game, but you're really ticking off your loyal fan base.
Right, but I'm with you 150%. Cole and I were talking about this. It'd be like the Yankees playing the Clippers.
Yeah.
Back in the late 20s with Babe Ruth, et cetera. But they're playing in Cleveland. So what are you getting out of it?
Exactly. In the NBA playoffs, Heat beat the Hawks in overtime last night, 123-114. Heat get the 8th seed. They'll take on the Cavaliers now. Grizzlies over the Mavericks, 120-106. Memphis grabs the 8 in the West. They'll advance to play Oklahoma City. We've got 4 NBA games today. Bucks Pacers at 1. Clippers Nuggets 3:30. Pistons Knicks at 6. Lakers host the T-Wolves at 8:30. That's the first games of the playoffs. I don't count the play-ins as playoff games. In the NHL playoffs, 2 games tonight. St. Louis at Winnipeg at 8. Avalanche and Dallas take on the Stars at 8:30. That's the NHL playoffs. Stanley Cup playoffs really are so much fun to watch. I like watching that a lot more than the NBA. I'll watch LeBron. I'll watch the Warriors. I'll watch my Celtics. But if the teams I want to see aren't playing, I won't pay attention to it. The NBA and the NHL, though, I like watching all the games.
You know what was cool though? The last several games of the Blue Jacket season felt like a playoff.
It did.
Atmosphere.
Yeah.
They had to win, and then, of course, in the end, Carolina couldn't get it done. But I thought that was just so cool. I'm kind of reconnected with my buddy Aaron Portsline during that time. You try not to be a nuisance, but I like texting anybody at any time.
Sure, yeah.
And we shared a few moments there the last several games, and also, I didn't have all I had was NHL Tonight on. I didn't have the Montreal Carolina game. I couldn't find it anywhere, but it was on NHL Night. They would cut to it, and I left the room and came back, and it was 3-1. I went, wait a minute, wait a minute. This isn't how it's supposed to go. But unfortunate, because what an effort, that swoon that killed them.
Yeah. Yep, that's what it was. That's what got him. And nonetheless, though, a fantastic season for the Jackets. Exceeded expectations on a lot of levels.
Do you believe that momentum carries over from one year to the next?
I think this will. I don't
know about that.
I think this will.
I think you catch lightning in a bottle sometimes, and rekindling that is tough. I mean, did they find their goalie for the future?
I think they did, yes.
Looks like it, but based on what sample size.
Now he gave up 2 goals in his last 5 games. Played
Right.
pretty well, yeah. But we'll
That's 5 games.
That's 5 games. I get you, yeah. But he's shown it before. He's more consistent than Elvis, which is what I think we might be in a situation now where Elvis has left the building. Coming
I like
up
how
next,
cool he was. Go ahead.
yes, the transfer portal's in full swing. One college football team saw 36 players enter on day 1. We'll discuss that next. Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Winners of the prestigious Platinum Microphone Award every year, given to the best radio station in the world. No need to look it up. It's real. The Fan.
She's the heart of your home, the keeper of traditions, and the one who always puts everyone else first. And this spring, it's her turn. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. For over 78 years, we've offered unforgettable gifts for every milestone, big and small. Mother's Day, anniversaries, birthdays, and more. She deserves more than flowers. She deserves to sparkle. For jewelry that lasts a lifetime, visit Diamond Cellar on Salmo Road and at Easton Town Center, or shop with us online at diamondcellar.com.
Picture this. You walk into a Tim Hortons and get a warm toasted English muffin or a buttery biscuit layered with fluffy fresh cracked eggs, melty cheese, and savory sausage or bacon. Now imagine that breakfast sandwich for just $3 when you buy any size coffee, hot or cold, because when you're running on empty, you want a breakfast that does more than just fills you up. So start your morning with Tim's, because you deserve a breakfast that's as good as your day is going to be. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants. Offer valid only during breakfast hours. Exclusions apply. Additional terms apply.
Speedway knows the in-between is the best time for pizza. In between meetings, pencil in a pizza. In between this commercial you're listening to right now, eat a pizza. And in between meal times, that's when you need it the most. That's why at Speedway you can get 2 hot, delicious slices of pizza and a Mountain Dew 20-ounce for $5 with Speedy Rewards. With pepperoni, cheese, and extreme meat, your next stop at Speedway will be in-betweenier than ever. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 4/29/25. See app for full terms.
Have you considered how much has occurred in the last 85 years? World War II, the psychedelic 60s, Vietnam, disco, the internet, the PC, the smartphone, and AI? To say the last 85 years have been monumental is quite an understatement. You know what's been constant every step of the way? Oakland Nursery. Since 1940, Oakland Nursery has provided the finest quality plant material at fair prices, backed up with expert service. Happy 85th. If you haven't been to Oakland Nursery, you simply haven't been to a nursery.
Can I get Mega Millions?
Good choice. Mega Millions is bigger than ever. Jackpots now start at $50 million and grow faster.
Sounds mega.
And now, every game has a built-in multiplier, so all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times.
Bigger prizes, better odds, and just $5? Give me 2.
Mega Millions is bigger and better than ever. Get your tickets today at your local Ohio lottery retailer. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
You pay what we pay with employee pricing at Coughlin Ford. Take over $5,500 off MSRP on a new 24 Ford Escape. Employee price $28,000. Or take over $7,000 off MSRP on new 25 F-150s and 24 F-250s. Visit CoughlinFord.com.
Coughlin has the car for you. All factory rebates to dealer. All prior sales excluded. In-stock units only. Must finance through Ford Motor Credit. Not all will qualify. No security deposit required. Residency restrictions may apply. See dealer for details. And 43025.
Fish has been named the 3rd best sports program director in the country. Winner. The 2 dudes who finished ahead of him are dead. So we're declaring him the winner. You're listening to the home of champions, the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
When you're a AAA member, we do the hard stuff for you. So picture this. You're taking a road trip through the mountains at night, and you run out of gas. Do you, A, call AAA, or B, walk 29 miles to the nearest gas station in the pouring rain?
A?
On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co., located right here in Columbus. Introducing their newest product, 614 Vodka, Ohio's house vodka. Perfect to make a drink at home or try when you're out at your favorite local restaurant. Learn more at 614vodka.com.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
When you join the plus side with AAA, that's all you'll have to do. Or you could learn to change your own tire.
Hey,
Hey fam, what's up? Today I'm gonna teach you to change a flat. Before we start, make sure it's not raining, or hailing, or lightning.
Skip the hard work. On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
Spring forward, Columbus, with the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling Services. We're here to thaw you out with this limited time offer. Get up to $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer is too good to pass up. The Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling now together to serve you better with $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer won't last. Call us today, 614-232-2222. That's 614-232-2222.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are expecting a few scattered showers and storms early on, otherwise highs into the mid-70s. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a few scattered showers and lows into the lower 50s. For your Sunday here on Easter Sunday, we are expecting dry conditions, mostly cloudy skies, and highs into the lower 70s. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
An encyclopedic knowledge of sports and other random things you may or may not care about.
I think I found my mentor.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
We never shut up, especially the two of us here today. Tito and Tim May with you.
That's a bingo.
Cole back there running things.
No, we usually, isn't that what you people say? That's a bingo?
That's a bingo, yes.
No, we usually just say bingo.
That's right. We just say bingo. Transfer portal. And Tim, you've covered college sports from when it was illegal, although some teams still did pay players, to now where it's legal and there's millions of dollars being thrown around. And the transfer portal being wide open used to be. You had to get you had to sit out a year. Sometimes you also had to have permission from your team, right, to leave.
Yeah. If you transferred within the Big Ten, you had to sit out 2 years.
Right. In the SEC, they've got a thing where you can't, if you transfer after a certain point, you can't stay in the SEC also. But
yeah, I don't know how they enforce that, but
I don't know either.
Got it.
It's going to change, though, I would think, at some point.
Yeah, somebody just needs to be challenged is all.
So when the transfer portal opened up, West Virginia had 36 players go in. They've got a new head coach there, a new old head coach, right? Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah.
And he comes
Back to
in.
the future.
Yep. Of the 36 players, though, 12 of them were walk-ons. And with the new rules changing, it's not that big of a deal. So it's still 24 after that. And these are 24 scholarship players that all of them, I should say, were not recruited by Rich Rod because he's just now getting there. Now, it shouldn't be that shocking. Everyone kind of freaked out. I should say freaked. Everyone reacted very strongly when Dion got to Colorado and all of a sudden got rid of a bunch of guys and completely overhauled that roster.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen whenever you have a new coach come in, especially a high-profile coach like Rodriguez.
With a plan.
Yeah, and he may have a completely different offensive mindset for what they were recruiting before, so shouldn't be that surprised by that. But nonetheless, we're going to see more and more things like that happen with the fact you can transfer for free. No sitting out a year. You can transfer. And you're going to see when coaches come on or if coaches leave to go to another program, assistant coaches get their coordinators get head coaching jobs that may have recruited guys. All that's going to keep on happening. What surprised me more, I shouldn't say surprised more, what we're going to see more of is what's happening in Purdue with Ryan Brown with an E, by the way. You can never trust guys whose last name ends in a vowel you don't use. You know what I mean? Brownie it should be. Anyway, Ryan Brown.
How about Mays? Why is considered a
why sometimes I think Mays, your May is okay. Drake May is not okay.
Right.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. That's a great
just
reference.
Emphasizes the E emphasizes the long A.
I think if you had an E like Brown and like May, I think you're pretentious.
Well, he didn't name himself.
I understand that, but I think you're I just think it just inherently you're pretentious and probably high maintenance.
Yeah. What if you're Joe Theismann though, and you change your pronunciation to Theismann
to rhyme with Heisman? It works if you win it.
Right.
If you don't win it though, you should go back to your old name.
I didn't mean to start down that rabbit hole.
No, it's
Let's
okay.
get back out of the rabbit hole.
Ryan Brown entered the transfer portal Wednesday and was going to go to North Carolina, and then he decided Friday, I changed my mind. I'm going back to Purdue. He's a 6'4", 210-pound redshirt sophomore. He started twice last year for Purdue. But with all these changes, the reason I go to North Carolina is because North Carolina got a South Alabama transfer quarterback, Gio Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of a sudden now Brown's like, well, I probably won't start here. I'll go back to where I started a couple games last year. We're going to see more and more of that, Tim, aren't we? You're going to see guys that enter and go back. I don't know how the coaches are always going to feel about that. But it happened with Ohio State, right? Who was it? Was it Sam Williams-Dixon?
Sam Williams-Dixon, yeah.
He said he was going to he was ended the portal, so I'm leaving, and then decided otherwise and decided to come back. We're going to see more and more of this stuff going on.
Right. And here's the thing. See, Sam Williams-Dixon is going to play, eventually, because I think he's talented. But in the meantime, he's going to be at Ohio State.
Right.
Now you can say, well, I'm going to go somewhere and I want to play. I want a full college experience. I want to play every year, every game. You know what I mean? And there aren't that many people that get that have that luxury. So it makes sense, and it also shows the strength. It's a great example of the strength of the Ohio State program right now, which I think is the best in the country. I really do believe Ohio State at this moment has the strongest college football program in the country. Doesn't mean they're going to win every game, as we all know and stuff, but why wouldn't you want to be associated with that in some form or fashion, especially a local young man? Yep. It makes sense for you down the road, 15, 20 years from now. It makes sense for you to finish where you started. And I think some people maybe reinforce that with him, too. And number two, where are you going to go that's better? I mean,
right.
Except for the chance you're going to get a chance to play. But who are you going to be running behind? What offense are you going to be in and stuff? So a lot of guys have to do that check. Max Clare, it's funny because when a guy leaves Ohio State, what are you doing? But when a guy shows up at Ohio State, hey, good for you.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So it's that double whammy. But Ohio State, once again, benefited greatly in the transfer portal, in my opinion, this year. I mean, not the least of whom is going to be probably starting left tackle Ethan Onyeonwa. That guy is a big, grown man, great guy to talk to, has played extensively for Rice.
Right.
So he's experiencing life the opposite direction of going from somewhere where a program that basically struggled to now he's surrounded by great players. You heard what Philip Daniels said when he transferred from Minnesota. He looks up and there's Jelani Thurman.
Right.
You don't see Jelani Thurman at Minnesota,
Right,
and that's not knocking Minnesota, because I think Minnesota's got a really good program going right now, but not on the level of Ohio State. So it's an interesting thing. But when you walk into the portal and when you lose, what is West Virginia now? 36? Are they at 36 players? 12 of whom
12 are the walk-ons.
Walk-ons. When you lose that number, you're not going to be great. No. You're going to win maybe a game or two, that maybe you shouldn't under Rich Rodriguez this year, who, like I said, I love the head coaches. You can tell the head coaches who have what I call a plan.
Right.
And aren't just winging it. And Rodriguez is one of those guys. But, as a fan, you're going, okay, well, it's not – the special year is not going to be this year.
Right.
We may root for an upset here or there, but that's a hole. And now you're coming up – but the flip side of all this is now you're going to go, if they ever get the house settlement done, you're going to be going to 105 total players on your roster, which is going to leave a lot of guys out there.
Yeah.
And probably some quality guys out there looking for a new home. And that's where, it almost behooves you, if you're a big-time program like an Ohio State, it almost behooves you to bring in 6, 8, 10 guys a year from the portal.
Sure.
For example, the great example of the two guys I just mentioned, Onyeonwa and Philip Daniels, those guys have played college football. You know how good they are.
You got college tape on them, not high school tape.
When you take high school linemen, and I really believe this is a trend that's going to keep developing, when you take high school linemen, you think you know what you're getting, but you're evaluating them for the most part going against 210, 215-pound defensive ends, for example, from you have no idea how they're going to react when all of a sudden they're going against Caden Curry or Kenyatta Jackson, and before that, Jack Sawyer. So I think that's the real trend, is you're going to see more linemen in the portal who have proven themselves at one level and now want to be part of like Georgia or Ohio State or Alabama or Texas.
It's like the minor league system, Tim, in baseball. It's the same thing.
But it's especially for linemen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a different game from high school. And so, but man, to find to find 20 quality guys when you're West Virginia, in Ohio State and Georgia or Alabama or Texas. I just keep naming those because, those are some of the great programs of the recent years. When they're also out in the portal cherry picking, the cherries aren't as juicy at the top of the tree than they are at the bottom of the tree. And, the great teams get the low-hanging fruit.
And you mentioned the fact that Ohio State, yes, I agree with you as far as being the best program, the most well-run program in the country right now. No one's entered the portal since Wednesday. Nobody's. And Ohio State, that speaks to the culture. That speaks to the coaching staff. That speaks to the leadership of the players.
Speaks to
that
the
speaks
NIL.
to the brand, the NIL, all those things. It's the fact that Ohio State's had nobody enter is phenomenal.
Yeah.
After the spring game, that no one got into that. So, it could change still, but nonetheless,
they've had a couple of guys enter, but they were,
yeah, I'm sorry, but since Wednesday though, there has been it hasn't happened. So, it speaks a lot to Ryan Day and to what he's set up there, and it's one of those things where once you get it rolling, I don't want to say it's autopilot. That's not fair to say, but it's much easier to maintain than it was to get it to that point.
Yeah, but you know what? But that's like saying, you climbed Everest.
Yeah,
and it's easier to climb Everest. And no, it's not. You kind of know the way. I thought Brian Hartline had a great line when we were talking to him near the end of spring. It's like we've got a map, but you still got to follow the map. Yeah. You start all over every year, and the challenges, there'll be a landslide over here, or like I'm talking about using the analogy of Everest, or an ice fall over here that wasn't there the last time you did it. So every time, and it doesn't get easier. It maybe gets more familiar, but not easier by any stretch. But it always helps when you're bringing in quality guys, both recruiting and transfer portal wise. And it's I don't know where we're all going. That's why I'm glad we're having Jeremy Birmingham on here in a minute, because just what he does, for the most part, which is follow recruiting in a big time way. His job has changed dramatically.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Over the last 8 years, so it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. But yeah, it's and we're all sitting here. Everybody keeps thinking, well, if A gets the quarterback job, B is going to leave. Well, number one, they didn't name a starting quarterback after spring. Ohio State didn't.
Sure.
I would think by now Ryan Day has spoken with both of his quarterback competitors. I'm talking about for the starting job, Lincoln Kienholz and Julian Sayin. They know where they're staying. I had Julian Sayin's coach. I have him on my the Tim May show, was dropped yesterday, the recent version, and just talked about how he's seen Julian just improve, and then in that spring game, he looked like the Julian Sayin who played at Carlsbad High School in Carlsbad, California. Looked poised, looked comfortable, was making plays. He looks like but he did look like that. He did not look like that the week before in the Student Appreciation Day scrimmage. So, it's just an interesting time to be covering college sports.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Jeremy Birmingham joins us as we put spring football in the rearview mirror. What now? We'll do that next. Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
And the top overall pick in this year's draft is the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. That's right. It's number one in my heart. This is Scotty Vegas, and we're hosting a special draft show and watch party starting at 7 p.m. Thursday, April 24th for the first round of the draft. Watch and place wagers on the picks with over 30 kiosks, contests, prizes, and a live show at 7 at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought, because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey Sports Cards fans, I'm Jeff with my buddy Adam, and we run Huggy Kissy Bear breaks on the Whatnot app. What's a card break? Simple. We open boxes of cards live, you pick your team, and we send you all the hits. With over 2,300 5-star reviews, we're all about you. New to card breaks? No sweat. We've got you covered with a sweet welcome package from us. Download the Whatnot app and follow us on Instagram and TikTok to view all of our past Sugar Bear hits. Huggy Kissy Bear breaks, where collectors win big.
If you haven't thought about Buckeye football today, I'm sorry to tell you that you're dead. Our condolences. Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Fan Sports Saturday. Tito, Tim May, Cole with you as well. Now we're help the Bryant Heating Cooling System Fan Guest Hotline. Jeremy Birmingham joins us, who does everything for Ohio State football, knows it all. Been around for a while. Jeremy, good morning. And I'm curious now, what should the focus of this Ohio State football team be now that spring football is behind them?
Well, I mean, the primary focus is making sure that the defensive tackle situation and the defensive line situation in total is where you want it. We are in the middle of the 10-day portal window being opened on Wednesday, and that seems to be the only spot Ohio State has any real interest in trying to pluck a player or two to join the program, provided that nobody leaves, which to this point, not a single scholarship player from Ohio State has entered the portal. So it seems like they're in pretty good shape. It's actually must be kind of nice for Ryan Day and his staff to be able to sit back and watch the chaos unfold everywhere else, because coming off the championship run, the Buckeyes seem pretty comfortable with what they got.
Hey, Jeremy, that's what I was wondering. I got like 14 questions for you, but I'll try to narrow it down to 2 quickies to begin with. But number one, do you see a guy out there like the kid from Vanderbilt, or do you see a couple of guys they've got their eye on that could be possible acquisitions, defensive tackle types, and or edge guys, defensive end guy? You know, the kid from North Carolina is one of them. But who you've got your eyeball in? And then number two, before Tito takes over again, dude, your job has changed so dramatically in the last 5-7 years, and when it comes to, keeping up with recruiting, because it's almost a 3-pronged sword, right? You got guys that can leave, you got guys that can transfer in, plus they're recruiting a fresh class of high school players every year. So I didn't mean to do a Ryan Day on you there, but will you forgive me one of these days?
Yeah, it's fine, Tim. I understand the way it goes. No, it's been the job has changed considerably, because a lot of the old rules of recruiting, a lot of the old standards of like, okay, well, there's a great relationship here, there's this there, there's playing time. Those things are gone, and most of the time it comes down to which team is going to offer the most money, and that's unfortunate, but it is the way everyone sort of saw it going the minute that NIL became a thing, and then the fact that NIL was allowed to blossom at the exact same time that the basically the portal began, and the transfer as many times as you want rule became a thing. Like it was destined to be a disaster, and it's been a disaster for 90% of the teams in the country. There are teams like Ohio State that are pretty good. Ohio State's culture is really, really strong. It's a really established program where the players are the people that are upholding the culture in many ways, not just the coaches. And so you see Ohio State, Georgia's of the world, Clemson's, et cetera, still thriving in this environment because those places are so well established.
He is at I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let me cut you off there.
The second part, or the first part, Bo Atkinson, the defensive lineman from North Carolina, he's visiting Georgia this weekend, and he's supposed to be at Ohio State on Monday. Right now, he's the only name that I've heard that has a visit scheduled with Ohio State, which is interesting because he's not your traditional defensive tackle, but at 6'5", 270 pounds or so, he's the prototype that Larry Johnson's been looking for to really play that strong side defensive end that JT Tuimoloau played, and give you a guy that can move inside and be versatile. So and I think some of that might be because Ohio State has been really, really pleasantly surprised by what they got out of Logan George, the transfer from Idaho State, and maybe some of the need has been mitigated there.
Yeah, real quick, Logan George, a lot of people got in on him, and it's really funny. I mean, it's a great example of a guy going somewhere lesser, for one of another term, and really exposing himself to others. But that came out wrong. But you know what I'm talking about, showing what he's all about, and just continually improving. I mean, I wouldn't call him a surprise because Ohio State took him, you know what I mean? So they expected something out of him, but I think he had a better spring than I think a lot of people even anticipated.
I think Logan had a better spring than he anticipated, if I'd be honest with you. I pulled him to the side and was talking to him a couple weeks ago when we had the defensive line availability at Ohio State, and I said, how has this been for you? Has it been what you thought? And he said that when he entered the transfer portal, he figured he'd end up at a place like Boise State, and a good program, but
right down the road.
It came down to Ohio State and Oklahoma, and he just didn't anticipate that it would be those types of schools coming after him. But he certainly acquitted himself nicely so far.
He is at Berm on Twitter. Follow him there at BIRM. Jerry Birmingham joining us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling System fan guest hotline. I saw Oklahoma's David Stone hit the portal. And I know Troy Pikes, the redshirt sophomore from Georgia Southern. He's 6'3", 290 defensive lineman there. Do you think either one of those will pique Ohio State's interest?
I've heard some with Troy. He's an interesting kid. He's from Georgia, and I've heard Georgia's in the mix there. So just always one to pay attention to. David Stone, it was a 5-star defensive tackle last year. So he's the guy that fits the recipe for what Ohio State really wants to do in the transfer portal,
right? Which
is find guys that have played a year and you have 2 years left with them at least, and so it really does give you a little bit more return on your investment. The Buckeyes were not a finalist in his recruitment, so that is something that maybe means nothing now if they really went after him aggressively. But I also don't know if he's been as if he was productive enough for Ohio State to go after him, because that is the flip side of this whole portal thing is when you start to enter the portal and you have this idea that you're going to go all over and ride the coattails of your high school accolades. The college coaches now have seen, like, okay, he was in college. What did he do?
Right.
Can he actually play? And in some cases, it makes more sense to get a guy from Georgia Southern, for example, or Georgia State or whatever, than it does to go and take a big name, big time recruit who may just be on the look for the biggest dollar amount.
Jeremy, you've been covering recruiting forever. I've always said this: it is tougher to find and then get a great A-gap defensive tackle than any other position in college football. I'm talking about, you know what I mean? I'm talking about upper, even more than quarterbacks. There's a lot of quarterbacks running around. Do you agree with that statement? And number two, it's been tough for Ohio State to find that kind of guy and then keep him for a while. They've had some guys kind of grow into it, but why is it tough? Why is it tough for Ohio State to find that guy year in and year out?
For some reason, the demographics just are not in their favor.
I know,
exactly. If you look, if it is now, if we could get to the root of why the demographics aren't in their favor, why those 6'4", 330-pound kids are all in the South,
yeah,
I don't know. The kids in Ohio, we've seen good defensive ends develop in Ohio and good defensive tackles develop. The Hamilton brothers, for example. Obviously, Tyleek Williams is a guy that committed to Ohio State kind of under the radar and turned out to be pretty good. I mean, he was still a 4-star prospect, but the simple truth is that those kids are just not in the traditional Ohio State / Big Ten footprint, and you really have to find unique ways to get involved in their recruitments. And now that has been lessened. The challenge of that has been lessened by NIL, which is nice because you see Ohio State in the last few years get much more involved in states than they've never been before. Alabama, for example, they have a 2025 or 2026 commitment from a 5-star safety from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, whose brother plays at LSU. So. They're opening doors that they hadn't opened previously. Some of that is, what happens when you win a national championship. Some of that is what happens when NIL is available and you can actually pay the players, the way that the SEC has been doing for years. And now you level the field a little bit. And so I think that helps make things a little easier. But that position and offensive tackle, man, they just don't grow on trees. You can, even in college football, I think you can get by, and we've seen it happen a number of times, where if you just have a decent quarterback, you can win games if you've got a defensive line and an offensive line that can get you there. So the trenches are still where the game is won, and Ohio State has been very, very active trying to get themselves positioned with those bigs, but it is hard because there are a few of them, and the bidding wars go through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Burn, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much. And take some time off or not? No, I guess you probably can't, Ken. You're going to be busy year-round.
It's recruiting season, so it's a little more of that and a little less football. So
gotcha. Thanks, Burn. Appreciate the time. Take care.
Thanks, guys. See you.
That was Jeremy Birmingham at Birm, BIRM.
By the way, recruiting season?
Yeah.
Just look at the calendar. Look at the 12-month calendar.
Yeah.
That's what recruiting season is.
I think the recruiting season is actually 13 months long. It's insane how much.
It's nuts.
I don't know how these guys do it.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how much that job's changed. It's changed as much for him, maybe not quite as much, but as much as for college football coaches and assistants. And all. It's like
But not only that, but in the transfer portal now, in the NIL, and you got like the Nico thing, Iamaleava. That's easy for me to say, but bottom line, when you say this school's offering him this, what are y'all going to offer?
Yeah.
How do you know what that school's actually? You know what I mean? It's
there's no way you can't prove it. There's no.
That's why you have to have a limit and stick to it.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Coming up next, what will $10 million get you? We'll discuss that. Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, sorry for that. The Fan.
When you're a AAA member, we do the hard stuff for you. So picture this. You're taking a road trip through the mountains at night, and you run out of gas. Do you, A, call AAA, or B, walk 29 miles to the nearest gas station in the pouring rain?
A?
How about this? You need auto insurance. You could A, pick AAA to find the best coverage for you, or B, spend so much time researching insurance jargon that you might as well have gotten a law degree.
Yeah, I'm going with A.
Right. Okay, you're booking a vacation. You can A, have AAA plan it for you, or B, stress so hard about layovers and getting to your cruise that you need a vacation from booking your vacation.
That's easy. A, AAA.
On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
After 5 months of gray winter skies, we're all ready for beautiful spring color. It's only natural. Get to Oakland Nursery for an explosion of spring colors. Blooming shrubs, fragrant lilacs, hydrangeas, azaleas, and rhododendrons. And Central Ohio's largest selection of roses with thousands to choose from. Break out of winter's gray with spring's beautiful colors at Oakland Nursery. And celebrate Oakland Nursery's 85 years of serving you. If you haven't been to Oakland Nursery, you simply haven't been to a nursery.
Newman Roofing, as part of their 2025 Commitment to Community initiative, is proud to partner with 10 TV and The Fan to launch Raise the Roof, honoring local heroes going above and beyond. We are calling on you to help us recognize the volunteers, educators, first responders, and everyday difference makers who are making a meaningful impact in your community to be recognized on 10 TV and The Fan. Send in your nominations and stories to raisetheroof@10tv.com. That's raisetheroof@10tv.com. Nominate a hero today and help us raise the roof for those who are making a difference.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to LifeSearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit LifeSearch.com today.
Oh, hey, Saturday, a fan show where you can be the star. Sundays at 11, it's the new Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Your calls, your tweets, your voicemails, your opinions. You could be a homer, a hater, or whatever you want to be. Your family may not listen to you, but we will. The Fan Call-In Show presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. Sundays at 11 on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This spring, celebrate the women who made you, raised you, and stood by you. Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. For over 78 years, whether it's for Mother's Day, an anniversary, graduation, or just because, we've had the perfect gifts for the women who mean the world to you. At Diamond Cellar, you'll find timeless jewelry they'll cherish forever because every woman deserves a little sparkle. For all your spring gifting needs, visit Diamond Cellar on Selma Road and at Easton Town Center, or shop online at diamondcellar.com.
Bo Bishop here. High Bank Distillery Co. is the most awarded distillery in America at the 2024 San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Stop by your local liquor store to grab a bottle, or the 3 restaurant locations in Gahanna, Grandview, or Westerville. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Speedway knows the in-between is the best time for pizza. In between meetings, pencil in a pizza. In between this commercial you're listening to right now, eat a pizza. And in between meal times, that's when you need it the most. That's why at Speedway you can get 2 hot, delicious slices of pizza and a Mountain Dew 20-ounce for $5 with Speedy Rewards. With pepperoni, cheese, and extreme meat, your next stop at Speedway will be in-betweenier than ever. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 4/29/25. See app for full terms.
Bobby Carpenter here for Germain Toyota. Swing by Germain Toyota and ask for Marcello and discover unbeatable deals and a wide selection of new and certified pre-owned Toyota vehicles. Visit them at germaintoyota.net. Germain Toyota on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road.
At Meijer, we work hard to bring more locally grown goodness to life with a farm-fresh selection of crisp vegetables and juicy, ready-to-eat fruit. Whether topping off kebabs on the grill or adding healthy color to a leafy green salad, your family will definitely enjoy the delicious taste of Meijer produce. Plus, you'll appreciate the selection and savings we have to offer. That's the fresh-picked good life, priced for real life. We work hard to make life a good deal better at Meijer.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Fan Sports Saturday. Tito, Tim, May, and Cole with you. By the way, I just confirmed at 12:45 we will have Lathan Ransom on. Talk about his week coming up. It's going to be a busy week for him, I would think. We'll get his name called at some point this weekend, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
I would think he would.
So we'll talk to him coming up. Make sure you stick around for that at 12:45. Don't forget, we also still have John Gerber coming on in our next segment. Albert Breer comes on at 11:18. Lots going on still. But I wanted to get into this with you, Tim, because I read this story on from CBS Sports. Matt Norlander wrote it. And he was talking about how there's going to be probably more than 8, probably 10 to 12, if not more, universities are going to spend more than $10 million on their basketball rosters for the upcoming season. 3 years ago, Nigel Pack left Kansas State, signed a 2-year deal at Miami that he paid him $400,000 a year. Now, there's a mid-major guy who averaged fewer than 10 points on a non-NCAA tournament team, and that's what it'll get you nowadays, they're saying. It'll get you $400,000 for someone like that now. There was a player that was not a top 3 in scoring on his mid-major team. Now, they don't put names in this. They don't associate schools zip. This is the report was. They quoted a coach. He's recruiting. His coach was recruiting a mid-major player who wasn't top 3 on his team in scoring, didn't play in the NCAA tournament, and the coach offered him $500,000 to transfer.
Mm-hmm.
And they did not get him. A competing school came in and said, allegedly, reportedly offered him $1.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so $1.2 million for a role player on a mid-major that did not make the NCAA tournament last year. That's what it is. That's where we're at now in this. And so there was an SEC.
Allegedly.
Well, yeah, the first report was $1 million, and then he talked to another coach who said it was actually $1.2 million. But an SEC assistant texted the reporter here, and said, all these numbers are insane. There's going to be 4 or 5 guys on our roster making way more than me.
Allegedly.
Yes.
See, that's the thing. We're talking about vagaries here, man. It's
Sure.
like no one ever, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know what all the top Ohio State football players are getting from the NIL.
Right.
Sometimes you hear a number and you're told that's high. Sometimes you hear numbers and you're told that's low.
Right.
That's a weird time we're living in now because that money has to come from somewhere.
Right.
And that's what's really crazy is how much do you really give a damn? And, we've always known there are people around all the major programs that have different degrees of deep pockets.
Uh-huh.
But, it's some places are more willing to dig into those pockets than others. And, for example, I've always used this as an example. Two of my great friends in Texas went to Texas A&M.
Okay.
They've always felt inferior to Texas, even though they won't admit it.
Right.
I'm talking about, in the upper, what do you call it? The upper east side of Manhattan or west side, wherever the Richie, the hoity-toity hang out. Everybody wants to be there, right? And but I'm telling you, Ross Bjork, when he was at Texas A&M, being totally honest with you, if he decided he needed to pass the hat, you know what I mean, for some project on school,
sure,
you pass that hat, it comes back with a lot of money in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And whereas at Ohio State, for example, you pass the hat and people want to know details.
Yep.
And I'm not going to just willy-nilly. Yeah, there's a little bit of a frenzy a couple of years ago, and now it's Ohio State has proven it gets bang for its buck when it comes to football program. So my point is these numbers are interesting because when you look at the schools that allegedly have a war chest now, led off by Arkansas, just in alphabetical order.
Mm-hmm.
John Perry goes there. He shows you what he can do.
Yeah.
You give him X amount of a budget, and he put together a pretty nice team in about a month's time, at Arkansas when he left Kentucky last year. And so it doesn't surprise you, but the numbers are still vague because how do you prove, like we were talking about a while ago with Jeremy, how do you prove what somebody's being offered?
Sure, yeah, you can't. You can't do it. You have no idea. JT
just
Toppin.
Like with Nico, it's like Nico Imala. Who knows what UCLA really has on the table for him? People are throwing numbers out there, and they're all different.
Yeah. JT Toppin for Texas Tech is coming back to play for Texas Tech this year, making $4 million to play basketball for them, which some of the money they're saying it's incentive-based, but also might be more, it would likely be more to make in the NBA this year if he came out. Rob Wright III at Baylor scored 11.5 points a game, 4.2 assists, 2.1 rebounds, and shot 41.4% from the floor. And he's getting a deal worth more than $1 million to come back to play for Baylor again. So,
right.
It's insane though with that. And as Ohio State showed you this year, though,
did he post it? See, that's the other thing. There's no. If they ever get a handle on this situation, it will be also what are guys getting? You know what I mean? And the only way you're going to get that is to have a couple of a consortium like joining the Big Ten and the SEC. Not only do they agree on a lot of other things, they also agree to be transparent on a player salary cap. Just like the NFL. And the only way you get to that point is having contracts, meaning everything will be handled through the schools. You won't have NIL deals on the side and things like that. I don't think maybe in my lifetime, I'm 71. I don't know if we'll get there with that.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Yes,
because that's no fun.
Right. Yeah. So it's Ohio State last year spent some money, didn't spend it wisely. They did not get banged on the basketball side from Bradshaw.
You never know what's coming in the door.
And Meechie Johnson. Yeah, you don't know. So they, kudos to Ohio State for being out there and doing that. But nonetheless, they still did not get the production. Bradshaw was awful and missed a lot of time. And Meechie Johnson obviously had his situation was going through, but he didn't play after the 10th game of the season. He didn't play for Ohio State, and he's going back to South Carolina now.
Yeah.
But Ohio State did invest some money last year. I have heard they're going to make a bigger investment this year in the program. We'll see what happens with that and see how this team looks next year. But, for Ohio State men's basketball, the baseline should be make the NCAA tournament every year. That should be the baseline. So
Sure.
hopefully they can get back there next
I
year.
think Ross Bjork's put that.
Yeah, he's been out there too. Yeah.
Has actually stated that. So that's I think that's doable.
I think so too. Coming up next, we'll check in with our golf betting expert, John Gerby's out there live at the RBC Heritage. We will do that next. Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Picture this. You walk into a Tim Hortons and get a warm toasted English muffin or a buttery biscuit layered with fluffy fresh cracked eggs, melty cheese, and savory sausage or bacon. Now imagine that breakfast sandwich for just $3 when you buy any size coffee, hot or cold, because when you're running on empty, you want a breakfast that does more than just fills you up. So start your morning with Tim's, because you deserve a breakfast that's as good as your day is going to be. Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants. Offer valid only during breakfast hours. Exclusions apply. Additional terms apply.
And the top overall pick in this year's draft is the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. That's right, it's number one in my heart. This is Scotty Vegas, and we're hosting a special draft show and watch party starting at 7 p.m. Thursday, April 24th for the first round of the draft. Watch and place wagers on the picks with over 30 kiosks, contests, prizes, and a live show at 7 at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Let's go to the floor with some late-breaking developments on the markets. Jim?
Up things are down, down things are up.
Sounds like things
You don't understand. Right is left, lemons are sweet, spaghetti is cold, the milk is warm.
Okay, but are you seeing anything that maybe smart-minded money people should know about?
Yeah. Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Probably one of the most stable things you can do is an Apex Pros air conditioner tune-up.
Air conditioner tune-ups, you say?
Oh yeah, Apex Pros knows most expensive summer breakdowns can be prevented by getting a tune-up now.
Yes, it's known that a tuned-up AC lowers energy bills, which is important to...
Oh, this is unbelievable.
What, big sell-off? Huge increase?
No, I spilled coffee on my new shirt. Anyway, tune-up save on energy bills, plus make your air conditioner last years longer.
Good to know Apex Pros keeps things stable and predictable.
That's on my pants, too. This is the worst day. This is historic. You know that.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Discover uncompromising quality at a reliable price with Giant Eagle in Market District. Look for signs throughout the store highlighting lower prices. Surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle. Experience value like never before. Visit Giant Eagle today to see how easy it is to save.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Jacob Reimer. The Ohio Major League Baseball teams came into their weekend series rolling on 2-game losing streaks, and they both put an end to those Friday night. The Reds used a 3-run third inning and a 4-run fourth inning to help cruise to an 8-3 win over the Orioles. Ellie De La Cruz, Jamer Candelario, and Matt McLean each put one over the wall in the win. The Guardians took down the Pirates thanks to a 5 spot in the 7th to win 10-7. Bo Naylor powered the Guards with 3 hits and 3 RBIs. They both go again later today. The matchups in the NBA playoffs are officially set with the play-in wrapping up last night. The Heat beat the Hawks in overtime and the Grizzlies dominated the Mavs. It all begins today with 4 games on the slate. Milwaukee is at Indiana. The Nuggets host the Clippers. New York squares off with Detroit. And the Lakers take on the Timberwolves. And in golf, Justin Thomas leads the RBC Heritage at 12 under par heading into the weekend at Harbour Town. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Indeed, you are. Fan Sports Saturday. He's the host of the #1 golf podcast in Ohio, From the Rough, on FanStream Sports. Betting expert, writer for Athlon Sports. You can follow him at Jager PGA Pro. Puts all of his picks out there for you to see every week for free, and he tracks it and tells you how's he doing. Today, Gerber's on the grounds out there at the RBC Heritage. Gerb, first off, I'm curious, what's the course conditions like? What's the weather like out there today?
Good morning, fellas. Yeah, it's an interesting day. It's starting to heat up. It's getting pretty warm. It's been a great week so far. Mid 70s, humidity's kind of baking out the golf course a little bit. So the course conditions has changed from what they started at the beginning of the week. So it's a lot firmer. It's a lot faster than it was at the start of the week. So these guys, you're getting a lot of run in the fairways, and the greens are getting a little bakey. So a lot of sun, some humidity, and about mid 70s or so.
Gerbs, is there anything more magnificent than when Justin Thomas gets everything aligned and starts firing at flags? Is there anything more magnificent than that?
Well, Tim, he's very interesting it's weird because yesterday I thought he actually hit the ball a lot better than he did the first day when he shot 61, which is very strange. He just didn't score. I mean, he putted the eyeballs off of it the very first round, but I really thought, I watched him a little bit yesterday. I just thought he hit it a lot better, but he just didn't quite make the putts. But, JT is a guy that's not scared, first off, and he has that ability to really go low, and he shapes the ball. He shapes the ball very well. He can hit it high, low, left to right, right to left, and that's a great formula here at Harbor Town for sure because there's a lot of dog legs. It's a very tight golf course, and it's going to come into play a little bit today, some strategy. You're going to see JT probably hit a lot of irons off the tees because of the firm fairways that are happening. He drove it on the ninth hole, or the bunker on the ninth hole yesterday. Like I said, I think his strategy is going to change a little bit with the course conditions.
John Gerber joins us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. It's kind of weird having such a big event like this one of the, what do you call them? The spotlight events, premier events. What do they call those? Signature events. Yeah. Right after the Masters like this. It's a great field though. And has anybody surprised you with how well they've played after their performance in the Masters?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we said in the press conference on Tuesday of Justin Rose, and he was more than gracious, how he was kind of doing his things or on Wednesday. And, he surprised me. I didn't think he would play nearly as well this week after, just the mental drain of what he went through at Augusta. So that surprised me. I mean, he's holding his own. I think on the other side of the spectrum, I'm really surprised how Ludwig Oberg hasn't played well this week. I know he didn't play, with his, falter at the end at Augusta. I thought he would really kind of change guard a little bit and really play well this week. I mean, this guy, he is a rock star amongst rock stars with these guys. I mean, if you watch this guy walk around, he looks like he's an Abercrombie and Fitch model. He really does. I mean, this guy is something special, and he's going to be around a long time. So both of those really, I mean, I'm impressed on Justin Rose, how gracious he was in his press conference and playing solid. And then on the other end, Oberg not playing as well as I thought.
Yeah, Oberg, to me, seems to be affected by the wind. I mean, it just seems to get befuddled sometimes. Just like me trying to get this sentence out, Gerbs. I think he still has some maturing to do in terms of handling conditions on occasion. Plus, he's had a few bad breaks too, along the way. But hey, that happens to everybody. Hey, I want to ask you about this. Is Tommy Fleetwood is he the biggest tease in golf now? I think I may have asked you this before, but I've been trying to compartmentalize what is he all about. I think he's all about making a lot of money, but just doesn't quite have that extra oomph. What's your take?
Yeah, you hit it spot on, especially in the betting aspect.
Yeah,
he's a guy. First or two rounds will play extremely well and just kind of falter. I think he is that typical scenario where it's okay to finish 15th or 20th because there's so much money out there. But if you look at a guy like that, I mean, he has to get roller coasters at the amusement park has to judge his height because he's a real little guy. Like he's just one of those guys you walk around, you think he's in the stands, and he's about 17 years old if you cut off his beard, right? I mean, he's just not an overwhelming guy, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but he's not going to be the guy that's going to shoot 25 under par. He's just not. And, I guess it's okay for him to finish 10th or 15th every week and make that $500,000. That's pretty good for a lot of guys out there.
Hey, I want to real quick for before Tito jumps back in, how important a week is this for Justin Thomas in your mind? I mean, from the standpoint of reestablishing himself, because number one, he was spectacular from the start, but now can he finish? But how important is it for him, not necessarily his fans?
Well, I don't think it's specifically just this tournament that's important. I think the year was very important for him, how he started the year. I think he's looking at it as a whole in terms of how he's going to get better. I know obviously his goal is to be on the Ryder Cup team. I think he has that. I think he's going to solidify himself to get on that Ryder team. But I don't think he's looking at it week to week. I think he's looking at it as the year as a whole as he continues to get better. I think his consistency he's concerned about, because he's really, if you look at his scores this year, how low he's went, and then he really hasn't followed it up with another really good score. And that's very difficult to do.
Sure.
But I think with JT, I think his high is so high, but his low isn't where he wants it to be. And I think that consistency as he continues to play is going to be important for him.
Gerb, how your picks looking for the pre-tournament picks, your winners, your top 10s, top 20s, your ham sandwich, how are those looking so far?
Yeah, it's looking pretty solid. Obviously this is moving day and it's a big day. Shane Lowry is a little disappointment that we had. We had him at 22-1 right along with Sepp Straka. I thought this is a perfect golf course for him. Sepp Straka, one of the best ball strikers on the PGA Tour. But look at a guy that we had at 60-1 that sits there in about 10th place is JT Poston. Mm-hmm. I followed him yesterday. He's really solid. He's made one bogey in 36 holes so far. He didn't make a bogey yesterday playing. He's playing really solid. I think he has a really low number in him today. So JT Poston that we like. Tom Hoagie at 85-1 is making a move. I don't think he can get there. I think the course conditions change. I think 15 under par is going to win just because of the course conditions. But, Keegan Bradley and Daniel Berger sitting in those spots in the top 20 is looking really solid. We have one matchup today. I really like Jordan Spieth minus 110 over Victor Hovland. I don't think Jordan got a lot out of his round yesterday. And I think with the firm condition and the scrambling ability, I think Jordan Spieth will make a move, and we had him in our matchup today minus 110 over Victor Hovland.
Yeah, and talk to me about Scotty Scheffler. Just not necessarily on wagers and stuff, but do you see his game coming back? I mean, obviously at the Masters, he just didn't have that extra. You know what I mean? At least that's the way I looked at it and stuff. What do you see? He's sitting right there, tied for 6, going into today at -8. And but what's your take on him?
Yeah, I didn't really like. I mean, it's so weird with Scotty Scheffler because the expectations are so high for him, right?
Right.
I didn't really like the way he shaped the ball yesterday. Some of his misses on some of the holes weren't really what I like. When I mean by that, Scotty is a guy that really likes to move the ball, and he was missing the ball right on holes that were dogleg left holes. So, shaping it the other way. He was missing it in the wrong spots and missing it and not shaping it properly, how you say, for this type of golf course. So, yeah, but he can get away. He's a magician on some of the shots that he's hit. I don't know if he's just used to being in the woods like you, Tito, but and having some great shots. But he's a magician there. I just don't like the way he's shaping it right now and some of his misses. So I think if he cleans that up, I think a couple weeks off will be really good for him. Certainly he's not going to play next week. And then he might play Byron Nelson. I don't know yet in Dallas. But I just don't like his misses right now.
How much do you think that win in the Masters has changed the way Rory McIlroy will approach tournaments now? Because it's a huge monkey off his back. You can't say he never won the Grand Slam, never won the Masters, but now he's got to be more relaxed now every time he goes out, right?
You would think so, right? I mean, and again, I think he's a little bit like Scotty Scheffler. The expectations are so high for Rory that, it's going to kind of be on him. I was surprised. He's going to play next week in the team event in New Orleans. He's defending champion with Shane Lowry. The easiest thing for him to do would be not play. He didn't play this week, which is a signature event, which he'll be fined for that. I mean, part of the signature events, you will get fined and you'll get docked some FedEx Cup points. I don't think he's concerned about that. I was surprised he didn't play this week just because of the obligations, but Rory's expectations are higher for himself than they are from anywhere else. So, like I said, it's hard to see. We'll see. I know the majors set up perfectly for him. With Quail Hollow coming up at the PGA, that's kind of his second home. The British Open and U.S. Open at Oakmont, he loves those golf courses, and the British Open playing in Ireland is going to be, that sets up perfect for him in the major season. So we'll see what happens kind of coming down the road. But I have high expectations certainly at the PGA Championship for him.
Yeah, I expect him to be just cut it loose now, Gerbs. I mean, I really, not that he didn't already, you know what I mean? But now he feels free to really maybe just let it go. And I think he could be a force. I'm really looking forward to reason I was asking about Scheffler. They almost get the sense Scheffler's working on some stuff, and for whatever reason. They did get the late start because of the cut, that he endured. But I could see a duel here for a little while between Scheffler and McIlroy being the number one player in the world. What do you think on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that'd be a great rivalry, right? Yes. And I think you're going to see it. I think you'll see it in the fall at the Ryder Cup. I think they'll be paired together a lot and try to prove their dominance. But as you said with Scotty's always working on something. That's just how his mind works in this game. He's always working on something. So that's a good thing. I would love to see that rivalry, right? I mean, yes. and going back to Rory, a freewheeling golfer with no expectations and getting the monkey off your back is a dangerous player.
Yes.
You'll see that a lot in the betting aspect when guys, I just barely made the cut, don't have contention, and they're just going out for everything because they're free and there's no expectation. So, yeah, you'll see that. But the rivalry with Scotty and Rory, yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to for sure.
He is John Gerber, host of the number one golf podcast in Ohio, From the Rough on Fantasy Sports. He's a betting expert, writer for Athlon Sports. Follow Matt J. Gerber, PGA Pro, future U.S. Senior Open champion. Gerb, enjoy the rest of your weekend out there. We'll catch up tomorrow with you on Fan Sports Sunday. Say hi to Scotty for me.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right, that was John Gerber there again at J. Gerber PGA Pro. Puts all his picks out there for free every week. He's got his winners he picks, top 10s, top 20s, kind of a long shot pick, and then does picks on the weekends. And he keeps track. His head-to-head record this year is insane. We'll get an update on it tomorrow, though, Tim. But it's something like 27-6-1 or something with the head-to-head pick. So
he plays for money, but his picks are free.
That's right. Okay, coming up next, it is NFL Draft Week. Great time to catch up with Albert Breer. We'll do that next. Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Whatever you're doing right now, just know that Bo Bishop is enjoying a sip of bourbon. Even if this promo is playing in the morning, no judgment.
Ah, sweet morning drinking.
The Fan.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax. And not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom Tire buyer.
Exactly.
Can I get Mega Millions?
Good choice. Mega Millions is bigger than ever. Jackpots now start at $50 million and grow faster.
Sounds mega.
And now, every game has a built-in multiplier, so all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times.
Bigger prizes, better odds, and just $5? Give me 2.
Mega Millions is bigger and better than ever. Get your tickets today at your local Ohio lottery retailer. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
To find an agent near you, visit shelterinsurance.com and switch today.
Common Man here for Weed Man. I always have the greenest lawn in the neighborhood. It's luscious. I swear by two things, water and Weed Man. Weed Man is locally owned and operated by Corbin and Audrey. They will make sure your lawn is weed-free and looking gorgeous. Of course, they get rid of weeds, but they also do aeration, mosquito control, grub control, crabgrass prevention, and flea and tick control for your four-legged friends. For a free quote, give them a call, 614-733-3747, weedmanusa.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
Spring forward, Columbus, with the Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling Services. We're here to thaw you out with this limited time offer. Get up to $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer is too good to pass up. The Waterworks and Header Heating and Cooling now together to serve you better with $2,000 off a new complete furnace and AC system. This offer won't last. Call us today, 614-232-2222. That's 614-232-2222.
You can stream the game on your phone while you're gardening. You can stream it while you walk the dog. You can stream it at a trampoline park. You can even stream it at a monster truck rally. But the second you get behind the wheel, the game's over. Remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
All your favorite and least favorite fan shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just type in 971 The Fan to the search bar and hit that subscribe button. It's free.
We're the land of the free and the home of the sunburnt, freckled fat guy.
Join now.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.625%, APR 6.685% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are expecting mostly cloudy skies, a few scattered showers and thunderstorms through the early afternoon with highs into the mid-70s. And then for tonight, mostly cloudy with a few scattered showers, lows into the lower 50s. And then for Sunday, your Easter Sunday, we are expecting mostly cloudy skies, a few peaks of sunshine here as we go through the day with highs into the lower 70s. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Indeed, it is Fan Sports Saturday. Working on, we'll bring it out for you on a little bit later. You know, having those guys, when we scheduled them, Tim, this time of year, it is...
They're fairly popular.
They're kind of busy, and something we don't know. Something could have just broken.
But they're busy doing what?
Right.
I mean, speculating, you know.
Yeah, but sources are calling, all
what's
that.
What's the latest on Aaron Rodgers, you know? For the 14th time in the 2 days.
All right, speaking of that Aaron Rodgers thing. So Rodgers came out and on the Pat McAfee show.
Right.
And he said that the Jets asked him to come out to their facilities. So he flies cross country to meet with Aaron Glenn, and see where they're going, where things are going with this.
Right.
And according to Rodgers, he sits down with Aaron Glenn, and within like the first 2 minutes, maybe less than that, Glenn first says you still shouldn't play in football. And Rodgers says, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm thinking, I'm giving some thought. Yeah, I think I'd like to. I'm not sure. And then Glenn says, well, we're going in another direction. So, and then Aaron was, like, why'd you fly me out across? You told me on the phone.
Right.
Why'd you fly me out here? And he said, well, I just want to know how you want us to handle this. You're released. Do you want to, how do you want us to phrase it? How do you want to go out there? Because they want, and Rodgers was befuddled by this. And he thought he could get in there and have be there for a couple hours at least, having a conversation, getting to know Aaron, seeing what direction they're going, what he's looking for, where the team's headed, all these things.
Kumbaya.
Right. And within the first couple minutes, Glenn's like, we're moving on to somebody else. And if that's the way it happened, I can understand why Aaron would be bothered by that.
Yeah.
Because if they were going to get rid of him anyway and move on, they could have just called him and told him that, or they could have flown out there. Bobby and I talked about it yesterday on Morning Juice. Bobby said the team should have flown out there than to tell him that, or just do it over the phone. And but Aaron said he wasn't surprised by it. He wasn't surprised by the end result. But he said, I don't care. If they don't want me to play for it, if they were going to do it, that's fine. They could do that. He was just bothered by the way they went about it, and that the fact that the head coach, the new head coach, did not really even try to have a conversation about the future of it. Just said, we've made up our mind. Then why fly him out there? Yeah,
that is interesting that there was no I don't know why Aaron Rodgers would make that up. I mean, it sounds plausible to me, but once you've decided to move on from a guy like Aaron Rodgers, there's hardly any way you're going to get talked out of it, And number two, Aaron Rodgers doesn't sound like he wanted to talk him out of it either, So, it just I would have asked. He probably went through his representative. I would have asked, okay, is this good news or bad news, or is this? Are we done? If we're done, I'm not getting on the plane. So, there were all kinds of ways that could have been handled other than that. I thought it was kind of a waste of time for basically both parties. Yeah. When in fact you knew what the answer was to begin with, and just to eyeball him and tell him to his face, "We're not interested," is pretty much what you're saying, right? Right. To him. I think you can do that on Zoom now.
Right. They could have done it that way too. You're right, Tim. They could have done it that way as well, as opposed to having him fly all the way across country out there to just to tell him that news. They could have told him in 2 minutes on the phone. I like Aaron Rodgers,
but boy, he needs to get his feet planted somewhere. And I like the idea of what he was going to bring to the Jets. I like Garrett Wilson. That's why I like the idea of what Aaron Rodgers was going to bring. But boy, the Achilles was crazy.
At any age is bad. At that age, it's really bad.
Right. Just ask Tiger Woods. But, But yeah, so that set everything back. Now, this is the last hurrah, the way I look at it, and wherever he ends up is going to be interesting. It would be interesting if he ended up with the Giants.
That's not going to happen.
But you know what I'm saying? It would be
I know what you mean. Yes, it would be. Yes, if he ended up staying there. Yes.
Different weekends.
Right. It is. He was much better at the end of the year than he was at the beginning of the year last year with the Jets. Yeah. He actually was decent.
Yeah, he played into
down the stretch. And so that was the part that, the Steelers, I think, the Steelers have given him pretty much like no timeline, let us know when you know. Mm-hmm. I think the Steelers are the only team that legitimately has interest in him now. But, at the end of the season last year, he put together some pretty good games. He had a stretch there. I think it was after October 20th. For the rest of the season, he only had 4 interceptions, and he had 8, 9, 11, 13, 16, 18 touchdown passes. That's pretty good. I would take that for that stretch of games right there. But it seems like the Steelers are retirement for him. And the Steelers, he said he's been in contact with the Steelers ever since their meeting. He's been communicating with them frequently and is just still taking his time to think about what he wants to do. If you had to place a bet right now, Tim May.
Yeah.
Do you think he plays in the NFL in this upcoming season?
Yes, I do. You know why? Because I think he's still got a live arm. I think he is legitimately still one of the top 15 quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe top 10, maybe even better than that. I've always liked his daring do, is for want of another term, and I think he can help somebody. I think he's better. He's got some moxie to him. He's got toughness. And he's still got escapability despite some of his, obviously getting older and dealing with the injuries and stuff. But I would much rather have Aaron Rodgers 2 year, a second season away from an Achilles injury than that first season back, which was last year. So, yeah, I mean, I think he can bring something to you because I still think he's one of the greats who's ever played the position.
I still believe it, and I believe it will help out Pittsburgh immensely if they get him.
Correct.
When you've got DK Metcalf there now, you still have George Pickens.
Right.
And you still have to draft a quarterback, but it takes some pressure off of that. I've said all along I hope Will Howard goes to Steelers, but he'd have to be in the third round when the Steelers pick for them to do that. But that'd be like a perfect situation for Will Howard to do that. Because imagine he goes into there with Rodgers as your starter, and you've got DK Metcalf locked in for 5 years. You know, they still have to find a running back too in Pittsburgh, but I think he plays also.
I would love to see that dynamic of Aaron Rodgers and Will Howard in the same meeting room.
Right.
Because, you know, Aaron Rodgers tells that great story about Brett Favre. Basically didn't give him the time of day, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, later in a guy's career, is he going to do the same thing, or is he going to bring along a guy? I think Will Howard. I'm telling you, I may be wrong. I've always considered myself a quarterback aficionado to a certain extent.
Yes,
I think Will Howard became so much better over a span of 4 months last season than he's getting credit for. And I really truly believe he is an NFL caliber.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, you know, top level. We'll see, but he's a quick learner. He's got a big upside.
Yep.
His passing prowess improved from the beginning of January last year, you know, till the end of the season. He became a much better, proficient passer. I just think his upside is there, and we know he's smart. He can stand in there and take the hits. Whatever. He's got athletic ability to keep plays alive, things. I mean, all the intangibles. Plus, he's a hell of a leader, man.
Yeah.
I like him. I really like him a lot. I like him as a person. And you can't always say that about everybody you cover, but this guy's got a personality about him that's infectious. And I think somebody would really help themselves. I was going to use the word behoove again, and I've already used that 3 times today.
Can't use the same story 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. And but I really like him. I think that would be a great combo if you got him in there with a veteran dude that he could just kind of pick up on, much like Tom Brady did.
Look, get him to
Pittsburgh. I'm not equating them. I'm just saying.
Get him to Pittsburgh, get him to the Rams. I'm fine with either of those.
Bledsoe was there when Tom Brady showed up, and then all of a sudden, when it was his shot, he took it over.
If you go to the Rams with McVay there and with learning under Stafford also, that'd be a great situation as well. All right,
Stafford,
coming up
that
next.
kind of guy. Is he a big brother? We'll find out.
Coming up next, more NFL Draft Talk. This is Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
Common Man here of Spring Cleaning has you thinking about spring upgrading. This is the month to do it. Freshen your home's look, boost your energy efficiency, and save big during Universal Windows Direct's Spring Home Improvement event. Right now, it's their classic fan favorite offer. You buy 2 windows, you get 2 free, and there's no limit. If you buy 4, you pay for 2. If you need 12, you pay for 6. What are you waiting for? Schedule your free in-home estimate today. Give them a call, 614-502-5220, or visit universalwindowsdirect.com.
When you join the plus side with AAA, that's all you'll have to do. Or you could learn to change your own tire.
Hey fam, what's up? Today I'm gonna teach you to change a flat. Before we start, make sure it's not raining, or hailing, or lightning.
You can have AAA find you the right insurance policy, or you can shop for your own.
Hello? I'm with Mega Insure. You requested a quote?
Yes, 3 months ago.
You could have our travel advisors plan your dream vacation, or book your own travel.
Woo! Panama City Beach, spring break.
I thought you said we were going to Panama.
Wait, there's a difference?
Skip the hard work. On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
And the top overall pick in this year's draft is the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. That's right, it's number 1 in my heart. This is Scotty Vegas, and we're hosting a special draft show and watch party starting at 7 p.m. Thursday, April 24th for the first round of the draft. Watch and place wagers on the picks with over 30 kiosks, contests, prizes, and a live show at 7 at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Here's a listener tweet. Are Men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Fan Sports Saturday, still efforting getting Albert Breer. I'm going to get him on sometime here before the end of the show. I promise. I shouldn't say I promise you that.
Must be news breaking. What do you think?
That's what I wonder what it is, yeah. I wonder if he does that, though. Maybe really isn't busy. Like, maybe just, like, has to fold laundry.
Well, yeah, or he's at his kid's soccer game.
Right, could be something like that,
yeah,
too.
Yeah. You know how you like to go to your kids' basketball games.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least have them reported to you.
Have them reported to me throughout the game, yeah.
I gave Carpenter a grief about his kid ball hogging.
No.
I'm just joking. He knows I'm joking.
Yeah, Caleb's a hell of an athlete. He and Artie have a lot of fun together.
Sometimes you just want the ball in that guy's hands. You know what I mean?
They look so much alike.
Even when they're 7.
A lot of parents, when we don't have when we're further away from the action stuff, people say, "Oh, hey, way to go, Caleb!" And they say, "Hey, that's Artie." Hey, Artie, nice shot. That's Caleb. So we just call him
Exactly.
Cardi. We call both of them Cardi now. Is all we do.
Yeah.
So you were talking about Will Howard there.
Yeah.
And
I just like the guy. I mean, you know what I mean?
No, hey, look.
And plus, on top of that, he produced.
Look, Tim, I interviewed him at the Cardinal Jones Celebrity Softball game back in July, I guess it might have been.
Right.
And he sat down and talked to Dane Sanzenbacher and I, for about 15, 20 minutes. I was so impressed and blown away by him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, now you could say it's for all the players that are at Ohio State last year, all the players that played this past season, but especially with him, because he catches the brunt of the ire from fans after that Michigan game.
Right.
Now, granted, Day did because of play calling and whatnot. I'm saying, though, but Howard, though, also caught that. And the way he was able to bounce back from that and do what he did speaks volumes about his character.
Right.
And, because he came under fire after the Oregon game and came under fire after the Michigan game. And everyone was like, and on top of that, and not that I think Howard's a lot better than McCord, but McCord was having a great season for the most part outside of that first half. We threw 3 pick sixes, but he had good numbers at Syracuse. And there was talk about, which ones we should have kept McCord. Whatever. Right. But what Will Howard's able to do, though, if I'm an NFL GM, I'm holding that in very high regard.
Dude, he got backed into a corner and came out throwing haymakers.
Yeah.
At what? I mean, 73%, 73% completion percentage. In the playoff, he was crazy. And that was against really good teams much better than Michigan.
Sure, yeah.
Which, is kind of ironic. Sometimes a team just gets your number for whatever reason. And sometimes you give them your number for whatever reason. That was kind of a combo there. But in those playoff games with everything on the line, yes. I mean, to me, I just look at that. I mean, that's just like with Jack Sawyer, we'll see where Jack Sawyer ends up getting taken. Probably a second day guy, it looks like now.
I think it'll be second day.
But just the goal line stand for him, he tips the pass, on, was it third down? He tips the pass to the corner, loops inside and tips the pass to the corner. And then on the fourth down, beats Texas' best tackle. Some people thought was one of the best tackles in the SEC, maybe in the country. Just put a move on him like you would set him up in earlier rushes and puts a move on him. So, number one, he beats the best tackle for Texas, gets to the quarterback, knocks the ball loose, but then ball bounces right to him and he scoops. He grabs and scores.
Right.
And you're going, that's a microcosm of what he can do.
Yeah.
Meaning he beat a great tackle with a great move, got to the quarterback, made the play, and then also scored on top of it. And, I asked him that after Pro Day and just, I'm just basically more making a statement and asking a question. And I just go, just rewind those 2 plays in a row, third down and fourth down. Jack Sawyer with the season on the line, with the championship run on the line, how he stepped up and just made plays. I mean, that's what you want on an NFL field, is a guy that can summon that kind of thing, creativity, and then pure athletic ability, and then on top of it, the chance to do something very special. So I think Jack Sawyer to Cincinnati makes all kinds of sense. And to take the place of Sam Hubbard.
Yeah, I would say Jack Sawyer. If I'm Jack Sawyer's agent, I say, hey, NFL team, you want to see tape? Here's a tape, and it's 2 plays.
Yeah,
these are the 2. That's all you got to know. This is all you have to know about Jack Sawyer.
At the end of a game.
Yes.
Not
just
in the
set it
first
up.
quarter.
Say this is what happened. This is where we're at in the game. This is the 2 plays back to back. Jack Sawyer.
And it's funny because I told you the story before with Nick Bosa. I told him, I said, you guys, your brother got it made. He goes, well, I said, you only got to make 2 plays a game. Everybody thinks you've had a hell of a game.
Right, yeah.
And that's the way it is, man.
We talked about Will Howard. I told you that I thought that Pittsburgh and San Francisco, or Pittsburgh and L.A., the L.A. Rams are great fits for him. What about the Raiders?
Yeah.
With Chip Kelly there now, do you think that would be a good... Now, you got Geno Smith there, older quarterback as well. Brady's helping out with the personnel. He's like one of the higher-ups there who does all this. Wouldn't Will Howard make sense for the Raiders at some point, too?
That's more the question for Chip than it is for me or you. Because, okay, was it Chip or was it Will Howard?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ego drives a lot of things. I mean, what I thought you could see, you literally could see, you could definitely feel it. He and Chip Kelly and Will Howard got on the same wavelength and rode it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like watching guys surf and catching the big wave and just continually rode it and got better and better through the playoffs. Without a doubt. But even during the season, you could see, and like I said, I thought, and Billy Fessler was talking about this at the coaches convention last week, Ohio State's quarterback coach, or 2 weeks ago, that they worked with Will Howard on some, just mechanically,
right,
some things he was doing, throwing the ball, and, releasing the ball 6 inches out in front of your head instead of back here. Just little things that you could see get better and better with Will Howard's game. And so Chip has that all in his head. But he also knows that Will Howard contributed greatly in the meeting rooms, about setting maybe some offensive strategy, for one of another term, but maybe a plan they wanted to go with to set people up and things like that. So if there was ever a symbiosis between a coach and a player, it would be Chip Kelly and Will Howard. And why wouldn't you if your future's on the line, right?
A symbiosis. Look at you.
Yeah, I don't even know if I used that correctly.
I don't know if you did. I don't know what the word means. Do you know what it means there, Cole?
Yeah, there are a few examples of symbiosis. There's mutualism. There's parasitism.
Yeah, parasitism.
And there's more than that, but those are the 2 that I can think of.
It doesn't always mean exactly what you think, but it sounds good.
It's just a relationship between 2 things.
Correct. And two sometimes...
sometimes 3 things with alcohol involved.
Sometimes things that you wouldn't think. Sometimes things you wouldn't think would go together.
I got you. That's great. No, that's good. But yeah, Will Howard, that'll be fun to watch and see where he ends up going. And it's always that theory, the chicken or the egg thing. Was it Brady or Belichick? Was it Howard? Was it Kelly? I remember when I talked to Howard that day back in July, and he told me he had learned more. He'd been coached more.
Yes.
In the 4 months he'd been at Ohio State than his entire previous time at Kansas State.
Correct. And you could see it. Like I said, you saw him get better. I mean, in the spring, we're sitting there watching him. Devin Brown's a guy. Yeah. Devin Brown's ahead of him. And we all knew the cards were stacked against Devin Brown to a certain extent, but Devin Brown was not backing down. And Will Howard had to improve his game to really become the guy. And so, yeah, I mean, I wish him nothing but the best. Just like with Travion Henderson, one of the great human beings you're ever going to run into.
Right.
I mean, that team was loaded with those guys, man. And like I've told people a million times, you can watch my interview with Larry Johnson at the beginning of spring. I said I brought up that spiritual component of that team. Mm-hmm. You can't necessarily duplicate something like that. It has to happen.
Yeah.
And the way that became a positive thing, not a distraction, because sometimes those things can become a distraction. Like he said, it was a component of the team. It wasn't a sideshow. It was definitely part and parcel. I mean, that meeting they had after the Michigan game, if they hadn't had that spiritual component in the gut of that team, who knows which direction they would have gone. But they like I said, had a kumbaya moment after Ryan Day left the meeting, and they were a totally different football team. I think you agree.
This team reminded me. The vibe around this team and the what appeared to be, at least you're more inside it than I am, but the closeness of it, the leadership of it, the brotherhood of it reminded me a lot of the 02 team.
Yes.
And
you can't just make that up. You can't expect that to happen. This is a different looking team in all kinds of ways coming up. So young in a lot of places, or young in an experienced way. It's going to be interesting to watch it mature in its own way, but don't expect it to be the same team, because it's not.
Yeah, you only hope, I guess.
Wearing the same jerseys, but not the same team.
The hope is that the culture carries over with this new group.
There's a great culture there, though, that's palpable.
Yes, and so that's the thing where it's like if their legacy of this last team carries on to this year's team, and what that could mean, and that's where they're going to count on their leaders a lot this year.
Yeah.
That are going to
the guys that came back, the guys that transferred in to Ohio State last year.
Yeah.
Right on down, everything just finally fit, and then they still had two just tough losses, and that's where you really show the measure of a team. As I asked Mike Tyson that, Mike, you knocked out 30 guys. What's it like to get knocked out? This is like, 30 minutes after Buster beat him in the Tokyo Dome. He goes, listen, my friend, you don't judge a man by his success. You judge how he comes back from adversity. Yeah, this is Mike Tyson.
Right,
I'm just sitting there sort of like, being a smart ass asking him that question. But what a great answer.
Yeah.
That's how you judge anybody.
And I honestly, Tim, and easy I can say this now, and Ohio State fans will rip me for this. I would rather have had this past season play out the way it did than Ohio State to go undefeated and win it.
It just adds a sparkle to it that's undeniable. I mean, everybody's down on it. People are calling for the coach to be gone, right on down the line, and like you can just change something, snap of a finger, and it fixes everything. No, that's not the way it works. As Ryan Day, the favorite word, the buzzword now over the last 6 months, and it's going to continue, is the word process.
Yeah,
and it makes total sense. And one of the first guys to utter that word in relation to Ohio State football was Ross Bjork, talking about the process. It can't just be about wins and losses. It's got to be about the process, because the process ultimately builds what you're looking to build.
All right, coming up next, a legend is, we're going to have Albert Breer on next. Look at this. Albert Breer is going to join us next, NFL Draft. That's your breaking news right there. This is Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking. An account that's filled with features, but no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. Because it's your money, right? So we think you should keep it. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Bring more fresh to Easter with great deals at Meijer. Savory Meijer's Spiral Sliced Half Ham is 79 cents a pound with M-Perks Limit 1. Discount automatically applied once you enter your M-Perks ID. Buy one, get one free, pineapples or cantaloupe, mix or match. And a dozen Aunt Millie's rolls are just $2.99. Decorate your home and table with Easter decor. And make Easter a good deal sweeter for your little peeps with toys, candy, and more. Hop into Meijer, where Easter is a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron. Hey, Jerry. You know how annoyed people get when they worry about their sump pump?
Ah, the sump pump grump.
Get Eco.
They try whacking it to see if it'll start.
A technique known as the sump pump thump, I believe.
Or they feel around to see if something inside is clogged.
That would be a sump pump clump.
Get Eco.
But the last thing they want is to be caught in a rainstorm or a snowmelt with the flooded basement because the stupid thing didn't work.
No one wants to be a sump pump chump, Aaron.
That's why we have the $89 sump pump inspection. We check your pump, your battery backup, and all the downspouts and drains along the way to make sure everything is running clear.
All that for just one small sump pump lump sum.
Absolutely. Shouldn't you be out inventing things?
I'm in a bit of a slump.
Get Eco. Get Eco.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
Hey Sports Cards fans, I'm Jeff with my buddy Adam, and we run Huggy Kissy Bear breaks on the Whatnot app. What's a card break? Simple. We open boxes of cards live, you pick your team, and we send you all the hits. With over 2,300 5-star reviews, we're all about you. New to card breaks? No sweat. We've got you covered with a sweet welcome package from us. Download the Whatnot app and follow us on Instagram and TikTok to view all of our past Sugar Bear hits. Huggy Kissy Bear Breaks, where collectors win big.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. You know, my wife and I picked out a beautiful A-frame porch swing with a nice covering on it. We can sit out, get shade from the sun, watch our kids play in the backyard. We're reclaiming our backyard, and we're doing that with Getchy's Amish Country Furnishings in Dublin. You can do that, too. Their spring open house event runs now through April 19th. Some of the best savings of the year on poly furniture, play sets for the kiddos, whatever you need to complete your outdoor space, you'll find it at Getchy's in Dublin. You can also see the selection at AmishCountryFurnishings.com. Once again, that's AmishCountryFurnishings.com.
If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Speedway knows the in-between is the best time for pizza. In between meetings, pencil in a pizza. In between this commercial you're listening to right now, eat a pizza. And in between meal times, that's when you need it the most. That's why at Speedway you can get 2 hot, delicious slices of pizza and a Mountain Dew 20-ounce for $5 with Speedy Rewards. With pepperoni, cheese, and extreme meat, your next stop at Speedway will be in-betweenier than ever. The convenience stores of Speedway. Valid through 4/29/25. See app for full terms.
Did you know even the smallest increase in mortgage rates can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your loan? Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. It's true, even a 0.25% change in rate can cost you thousands of dollars over the life of your mortgage. But with Third Federal's new Early Rate Lock, you don't have to take chances. Early Rate Lock is the only pre-approval that locks in your rate at pre-approval, even before you find a house. Plus, we're so confident that our rates are the lowest, if you find a lower rate, we'll beat it or give you $1,000. And now through April 30th, get pre-approved with Third Federal and we'll pay all of your closing costs. So don't wait. Call Third Federal today.
Right now at Third Federal, even before you find a home, lock in 6.625%, APR 6.685% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-THIRD-FED today. APR reflects 15% down per $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restricted supply. Zero closing costs on low-cost loans only. See conditions for lowest rate guarantee at thirdfederal.com. Equal housing lender.
The Fan Poll is brought to you by Caster Connection. Visit CasterConnection.com to shop online or to work with our Caster Solution specialists.
We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
It is Fan Sports Saturday. We're now joined on the Bryant Heating Cooling System Fan Guest Hotline, MMQB's Albert Breer. Albert, we told the listeners that you were late because you were there was a bunch of breaking news or things you were talking to sources. So don't tell us you're doing just some meaningless tasks around the house, okay?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was no breaking news, but yeah, it was a conversation that went a little long. And I got to take calls this time of year when they come in. So
sure you do.
It is what it is.
So is there a crazy rumor or like a source has told you this might happen, or there's something that you've heard recently, like in the last week or so, and you said there is no way in hell that's going to happen?
No, I mean, I think I would say that sort of changed over the years. I would say 10 years ago, if you heard something that was wild and off, when the Atlanta thing was happening, when they traded up for Julio, you started to hear it early, a couple days before the draft, and it's would they really do that? And then they did it, So I would say a lot of that stuff's been normalized now, and I do think this year it's an interesting dynamic in that trading up. I think it'd be easier this year than it's been in other years. There are a lot of teams looking to move down and not a lot of teams looking to move up. And so, I do think it could lead to some bargains out there for some teams looking to come up and draft a certain players. So, we'll see how all that goes. My guess would be the first half of the first round is pretty static. But I don't think, but just it sort of takes two to tangle in those things, and I don't know who's going to be coming up yet and for what.
Hey, Albert, this is Tim May, man. I just wish times of now were the same when you were in school, and I sort of knew who you were. You know what I mean? But you and I could have put together a podcast then and made a lot of money. What do you think?
I like the idea of that, Tim. You're the legend here, so
no.
You tell me where to go.
Right.
Like I'm just trying to live up to the standards that you set when I was there in Columbus.
Yeah, there you go. I like the way you said that. You read that exactly the way I wrote it. Hey, you're Albert Breer. You can't take a quarterback. You do as much research as anybody. I'm putting you on the spot, but why not, right? Because that's what mock drafts, et cetera, are all about. You get one pick to stake your life on in the 2025 National Football League draft, and it's not a quarterback. I'm not even sure, to be honest with you can stake your life on these quarterbacks, but that's another story for another question for in another minute. But who is that one player that you want on your team, best player available, not a quarterback?
Yeah, I think it's Travis Hunter. I just think you have to have a plan for him, so that's the question.
Right.
But it's just, in a draft that doesn't have a lot of blue chip players, I think some would argue there's only two. Between Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, and some would throw Ashton Genty in that group. He is just the surest thing, and there's no character questions, there's no medical questions. The football character is off the charts, and there's so many different ways that you can use him now. Is he going to be, all pro, a corner, all pro receiver? That's a matter of debate, but you're going to get so many cracks at getting this right because of the amount of things that he can do. And I can't wait to see what becomes of him. Abdul Carter is a little bit more of it's easier to see what the vision for him would be, but there are some medical questions there. There's a little character stuff, nothing that would kill him, but, I think, just looking at the two of them, I'm going to be relatively close just because of how clean Hunter is as a prospect and how many cracks you're going to get at getting it right. I think Hunter would be the pick.
Hey, Albert, real quick anecdote. As I'm leaving the press box at the Rose Bowl after Ohio State has, basically kicked Oregon's Fanny, I'm walking from down to the interview area, and these two Oregon fans go by me and this other guy, and you can hear this one Oregon fan say, "We should have ponied up for Cam Ward." You know what I mean? It's like, is Cam Ward that kind of quarterback?
I don't know that he was seen that way a year ago.
Right.
I don't think there was anything to do with them ponying up.
I'm just saying right now, is he that guy?
He's become so. I think everything's relative, right? And he is relative to the rest of this draft class, but this is a really weak year at the position.
Right.
I think any of the three guys that went at the top of the draft last year. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May would be number one overall this year without question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are two teams that would look at Bo Nix and prefer him over Cam Ward. There are teams that would look at Michael Penix and prefer him over Cam Ward. I think he would be right in that range, which is still a first-round pick, but I don't think he'd be number one overall last year. And I think it does add a layer of context to where you're at. Now, the one thing you do get with Cam Ward that I think you're lacking with the other guys is there's a ceiling there, right? His arm is electric. He can make plays off schedule. He can do the playground stuff that, we've seen a lot of the great quarterbacks, your Josh Allen's, your Patrick Mahomes do. And so there is a feeling just looking at him, even after 5 years of playing, that, there's still some untapped potential there. And so, if you're an AFC team like Tennessee is, and you're looking up at that Mount Olympus, right, in the AFC with Burrow and Allen and Mahomes and Jackson, if there's a guy where you'd say there's the one guy where I could envision we could compete at that level and we could beat three of these teams in a row in the playoffs, it would probably be Ward, just because I think with the other guys there's a feeling that there's a little bit more of a limited ceiling.
All right, we got about a minute and a half left here, Albert. We'll get you out on this one. Albert Breer for MQB joins us on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. How many quarterbacks go in the top 10? How many quarterbacks go in the first round?
I'd say one in the top 10. If I had to draw it out right now, I'd say one in the top 20. And then I think after that is sort of a moving target. Like I think Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, I think those three probably all go somewhere between 20 and 40. So they're either Pittsburgh pulls the trigger on one of them. I think it potentially could be Shedeur at 21. And then I think at the top of the second round, like Cleveland, the Giants, they move into the bottom of the first. I think those three guys, and my guess would be those three guys go right there in the in that 20 to 40 range. And we'll see. Sometimes these things can change and guys can get pushed up. But I would say those three would be the three guys that would go somewhere between 20 and 40.
First Buckeye taken is?
I think it could be Travion Henderson, Tim.
Wow, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Go ahead.
I would tell you, I think Josh Simmons and Donovan Jackson. Yeah. I think and Emeka also have a chance to be in the bottom of the first round. So I think those three could well go ahead of Travion. I just look at Denver at 20, and I look at the Rams at 26, and I just see teams where it's like they're going to have that Jahmyr Gibbs vision for them. And you remember, the Lions, I don't think a lot of people had Jahmyr Gibbs going where he did, and the Lions said, screw it. This guy's a difference maker. Yeah. And I think that some teams are going to look at Henderson the way the Lions looked at Gibbs. So, I think Denver takes a running back, and I think Denver could potentially move up for a running back. But I think if they sit there at 20, a lot of people connect him to Hampton, and rightfully so. I could see that as well. But I could see that being a Travion Henderson curveball there too.
Sweet.
Appreciate the time. Thanks so much for your patience getting on this day and making time for us. We appreciate it, Albert.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You bet. That was Albert Breer joining us there from MMQB. Always love talking to that guy. He is so tuned into what's going on.
Boy, I like him because, once again, he proves he knows what he's talking about because Travion is a sleeper in the first round.
He's a beast, yes. He's going to be a beast in the NFL. I can't wait for that. Coming up next, a legend is walking away. We'll talk about that. This is Fan Sports Saturday on The Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
Let's go to the floor with some late-breaking developments on the markets. Jim?
Up things are down things are up.
Sounds like things
You don't understand. Right is left, lemons are sweet, spaghetti is cold, the milk is warm.
Okay, but are you seeing anything that maybe smart-minded money people should know about?
Yeah. Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Probably one of the most stable things you can do is an Apex Pros air conditioner tune-up.
Air conditioner tune-ups, you say?
Oh, yeah. Apex Pros knows most expensive summer breakdowns can be prevented by getting a tune-up now.
Yes, it's known that a tuned-up AC lowers energy bills, which is important
Oh, this is unbelievable.
What, big sell-off? Huge increase?
No, I spilled coffee on my new shirt. Anyway, tune-up save on energy bills, plus make your air conditioner last years longer.
Good to know Apex Pros keeps things stable and predictable.
That's on my pants, too. This is the worst day. This is historic. You know that.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax, and not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
Can I get Mega Millions?
Good choice. Mega Millions is bigger than ever. Jackpots now start at $50 million and grow faster.
Sounds mega.
And now, every game has a built-in multiplier, so all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times.
Bigger prizes, better odds, and just $5? Give me 2.
Mega Millions is bigger and better than ever. Get your tickets today at your local Ohio lottery retailer. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay. Moving up payday so you could get your money faster. Up to 2 days faster. And there's no cost. It's your money, right? So stop playing the waiting game. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
There's a new way to surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle and Market District. Shop Giant Eagle's uncompromising quality at a reliable price with everyday savings. Look for signs throughout the store to find bargains on produce, meat, and more. Visit Giant Eagle to see how easy it is to save.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Jacob Reimer. The Ohio Major League Baseball teams came into their weekend series rolling on 2-game losing streaks, and they both put an end to those Friday night. The Reds used a 3-run third inning and a 4-run fourth inning to help cruise to an 8-3 win over the Orioles. Ellie De La Cruz, Jeimer Candelario, and Matt McLean each put one over the wall in the win. The Guardians took down the Pirates thanks to a 5 spot in the 7th to win 10-7. Bo Naylor powered the Guards with 3 hits and 3 RBIs. They both go again later today. The matchups in the NBA playoffs are officially set with the play-in wrapping up last night. The Heat beat the Hawks in overtime and the Grizzlies dominated the Mavs. It all begins today with 4 games on the slate. Milwaukee is at Indiana. The Nuggets host the Clippers. New York squares off with Detroit. And the Lakers take on the Timberwolves. And in golf, Justin Thomas leads the RBC Heritage at 12 under par heading into the weekend at Harbour Town. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan.
Just because it's the weekend doesn't mean we shut up. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
It is Fan Sports Saturday. Thank you to Albert Breer for joining us there, MMQB. Always love talking to him.
Absolutely, one of my favorite people.
So
I think that came through. And boy, when he said Travion Henderson, sleeper, I mean, not sleeper.
That could be the first buck off the board.
One of my best friends, Jeff Snook, has been saying that for a while now because he brings something that no other running back in this draft, I think, brings. I think Genty is kind of close, but not like Travion in the sense of lightning with a little bit of thunder.
Yeah, I agree. No, Travion's and the best thing happened to Travion Henderson this year
was the playoffs.
Was having Judkins come here.
Well, yeah.
Take some load off of him.
But I mean, in the vernacular, how we're speaking about him now was, did he deliver in the playoffs or what? So did Judkins. So Judkins is a different back, so to speak.
So Lee Corso is stepping down after 38 years with ESPN. Mm-hmm. His final game will be August 30th. They haven't announced the site yet. You got to believe they would bookend his career with the game at Ohio State against Texas as being the game day site. The first time Corso donned the headgear. It wasn't on the first year of College Game Day. It was a few years down the road when he did that, when they started going to campus visits. And that's when he did the Brutus Buckeye.
When they needed some shtick.
Yes. And so that would be a perfect opportunity for him last time to don the headgear if it hadn't be Brutus at Ohio Stadium.
Where else would they be on August 30th?
There was
if this is 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw something, but there's a Florida State's got a game.
Big.
But I know, I'm not saying who was
Bama.
Florida State, Bama, week 1.
LSU plays somebody. I got to look it up, though.
Yeah. I know that Miami Notre Dame isn't until the next day.
FSU, Bama sounds good when you consider the school names, but this is going to be 1 versus 2 or 3. So
LSU, Clemson.
LSU, Clemson. Okay.
I rest on what I said earlier.
So, I made comparison. I was thinking about this, comparing Corso to John Madden. And what I mean by that, though, is that there's a lot of people who only know Corso as an ESPN guy. Just like a lot of people only knew Madden. There's a lot of people who only knew him as the video game guy and the color commentator.
Corso was not a great college football coach in the sense of wins losses. He also coached some places where it was tough to win and lose.
He was at Louisville.
Tough to win. That didn't come out right.
He went 28-11-3 at Louisville, went to Indiana, went 41-68-2, had the famous moment where he had somebody take a picture of the scoreboard when Indiana led Ohio State at the Horseshoe.
There you go.
Northern Illinois, he was there for 1 year, went 4-6-1, coached for Orlando in the USFL. It went 5-13 in 1985 in the last year for that franchise. But just that, Madden is known more for his video games and for being an announcer than he is, and he was a damn good coach. Yeah. Corso was known so much more. Corso lent his voice to the NCAA football franchise, the EA Sports. They did the NCAA football games. His voice was on a few of those editions, but and I'm not saying
plus Madden did analysis during games,
Right. Oh yeah.
And Corso did basically was studio stuff.
He was studio stuff, but he is
game day stuff.
He has done a lot, though. I think he played a big part on what for a long time, and maybe still is, the most popular college football pregame show.
Yeah.
A prominent figure. The last few years have been rough. You can tell his health has declined.
Right.
But in its heyday when it was growing, I mean, he was an important figure on that as anybody was.
Absolutely. And it's really funny. He and Dick Vitale. Dick Vitale was not a great college basketball coach.
No, fired Detroit. Yeah, fired.
But he found his niche.
Right. Yeah, it's funny that way too, Tim. Like we look at it, like now you mentioned that there's a lot of really good coaches and really good players that were bad commentators. Yeah. Joe Montana, Bill Walsh, guys like that. They were awful.
Yeah. Woody Hayes was awful in his few tries. Bear Bryant was awful.
Yep. And then I like it to like when you see a great baseball manager who never made it to the majors, or a great pitching coach who had ERA over 5 for his career, something like that. You'll see that sometimes. Or football players that weren't great. Bart Starr was a Hall of Fame player, mediocre coach for Green Bay when he coached there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But same thing at the broadcasting. You're right. There are some people that and Corso was one of those guys who did not have success as a head football coach. Although Louisville, I found this out when I was doing my research. You may have remembered this. I never heard of this before. The Pasadena Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be played. They used to call it the Little Rose Bowl sometimes. It was played a couple weeks earlier.
Yeah, like the Tangerine Bowl.
Yeah, right. And so they played it, though, in Pasadena. I don't know where they played, if they played at the Rose Bowl itself or not.
I don't remember where they played it.
It was like a mid-December, late December, like around the 20th of December, they would usually play it. But, yeah, he coached Louisville to that game. And there was the only game, they played Long Beach State, and they tied them in the one bowl game he went to with Louisville, which obviously could never happen now, tie football games in college football. But
but back to what you're saying. I mean, he was entertaining without a doubt. Then he had what I think a series of strokes, the best I can tell. Just like Mike Gottfried. I thought Mike Gottfried was really good till he had his struggles. And like I said this yesterday on the Buckeye Show, the people who were coming out and criticizing, I think mainly people were criticizing more ESPN keeping him there when they knew he was struggling from expressing himself. You didn't want him to become a sideshow, you know what I mean? Yeah. From a respect standpoint or dignity standpoint. And kind of like the last year, he kind of became a sideshow, and that was tough. But it's nothing. You shouldn't criticize, obviously, him for that. I mean, he was still giving it the old college try. And, why does it not make more sense than he? Because what made him famous of the things he did was putting on the headgear. And the first time he did it, it was an Ohio State Brutus Buckeye headgear. So why wouldn't you finish where you started in terms of what really made you famous?
Yeah, and Lee, in the beginning, was always known for he had enthusiasm, he had a quick wit.
Yeah.
The not so fast, my friend, that kind of thing.
He loves college football.
All that stuff, yes.
Loves college football.
And you're right, the last couple of years have been tough. He'll be 90 years old when he goes off the air. He turns 90 on August 7th, and August 30th will be his last game that he does. That we were talking about this yesterday on Morning Juice about, people that how long they were able to do something like this in the public spotlight. And we brought up Bob Barker, another one who kind of did it for long. Vin Scully, another one, guys like that.
Bob Uecker.
Yeah, Bob Uecker for sure. Recently passed away. Yes.
Mediocre Major League baseball player.
Awful baseball player, he'll tell you, yeah.
Ridiculous talent in what he finally found. He even had a sitcom for a while.
He did, you're right, Mr. Belvedere.
Mr. Belvedere.
That's right, yeah, Bob Uecker did that one, so... but it'll be...
it's a little bit high outside.
It makes perfect sense for it to end with Texas-Ohio State on August 30th. And do it here at the Horseshoe for the final game.
Plus, that's an SEC team playing a Big Ten team.
Right.
What Florida State versus who? Alabama?
Yeah, Florida State, Alabama.
Break.
The LSU Clemson. No, it all lines up perfectly for him to be here in Columbus for that final one. It's and game day. It's changed a lot over the years. I've never been a big fan of Desmond Howard. I'm going to leave it at that. But I like McAfee. Saban's somebody who did a lot better than I thought he would.
Saban's a natural at that, and if they let him really go, I think he could be outstanding. Because and same way with Urban. Urban the problem with those kind of panels is you kind of fight for your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but both these guys are going into the Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame together. Urban and Saban is pretty interesting, but they have insight that the other guys on the panel don't have when it comes to getting a football team not just ready to play like Lee Corso did, but taking them to the heights. There's a lot of former players that you have on from time to time and on different panels, but how many of them actually won national championships can actually tell you what it takes from the inside out of what it takes to win a national championship. That's still it's still a small club. In the same way with Saban. I thought Saban had some great moments last year, but so did Urban.
Yeah, Saban did. I think the first couple weeks Saban was still trying to feel things out a little bit. You could see a couple times he kind of looked sideways at McAfee, didn't know where exactly to go, I think, and find his role. But he certainly found his voice, and he was great last year.
What was the comedian that he kind of went toe to toe with? The guy was just here in Columbus.
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis. Yeah. He was not going to let that pass.
Yeah, right.
Right. And it was very interesting. Shane Gillis was probably more factual than Nick was in that exchange. But you have to find your boldness, more than anything else. I think when you're on those panels.
Yep, got to make your mark, and you got to have your voice heard and figure out what your voice is going to be. And Saban,
fight for your right to party.
There you go, a Beastie Boys reference. You don't get many of those anymore on radio, especially with the crowd that listens to us. That they will get that though. I think our Fan Sports Saturday crowd will get that reference. Wow. All right, coming up next.
Ross Bjork, come over and help me fix my tractor. Go ahead.
Ross Bjork is trying to fix something. Speaking of fixing things that bothered OSU last season, we will talk about that next. This is Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, Kroger brand bone-in hickory smoked spiral ham is only 79 cents a pound with your card, an additional $25 purchase. Limit 2. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
When you're a AAA member, we do the hard stuff for you. So picture this. You're taking a road trip through the mountains at night, and you run out of gas. Do you, A, call AAA, or B, walk 29 miles to the nearest gas station in the pouring rain?
A?
How about this? You need auto insurance. You could A, pick AAA to find the best coverage for you, or B, spend so much time researching insurance jargon that you might as well have gotten a law degree.
Yeah, I'm going with A.
Right. Okay, you're booking a vacation. You can A, have AAA plan it for you, or B, stress so hard about layovers and getting to your cruise that you need a vacation from booking your vacation.
That's easy. A, AAA.
On the plus side, get more with AAA. Go to AAA.com/plus side.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, as Care grew over the years, you had many opportunities to sell Care to one of the big conglomerates that are buying companies all over Central Ohio. So tell our customers why you decided to keep Care in the family.
After talking about Care's values for over 30 years, I couldn't bear the thought of Care becoming the kind of company I was warning our customers about. I know the two of you will continue to treat our customers as I would, with honesty and integrity.
We will, Dad. In 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Congratulations, you're having a little girl.
At that moment, everything changed. Our hopes and dreams for ourselves were instantly replaced by our hopes and dreams for her. We got life insurance policies from Shelter Insurance, so that regardless of what life throws at us, we'll still be able to provide the world to her.
Visit shelterinsurance.com to find an agent to help you pick a policy that's right for you. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like asterisk-free checking. An account that's filled with features, but no monthly maintenance fee, no matter what. Because it's your money, right? So we think you should keep it. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney.
Master Grillers Unite. The grilling season never ends at Billiards Plus. Come see their best-in-class grills for yourself and check out Central Ohio's largest selection of pool tables, game furniture, and shuffleboard. Family-owned and operated. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Spring into savings at Ohio Mulch. Get your mulch as easy as ever. Save $50 on home delivery now through Sunday. All you got to do is visit ohiomulch.com today.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We are expecting a few scattered showers and storms early on, otherwise highs into the mid-70s. Then for tonight, mostly cloudy, a few scattered showers and lows into the lower 50s. For your Sunday here on Easter Sunday, we are expecting dry conditions, mostly cloudy skies, and highs into the lower 70s. I'm meteorologist Aaron White with your 10 weather impact forecast here on 97.1 The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Oh, nuts. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. Instead of annoying national people talking to you this weekend, we've opted for annoying local people. This is Fan Sports Saturday.
Fan Sports Saturday, final hour of the program here. By the way, stick around at 12:46. Lathan Ransom's going to join us live on the phone.
Yes, sir, baby. Getting ready for the draft.
Getting ready for the draft. I'm not sure where he is. I don't know if he's in town, if he's out of town. I'm not sure. We'll can ask him that when we get him on there. We'll talk to Lathan Ransom.
Well, getting ready for the draft means basically not doing a whole lot more than you and I are doing right now.
When I texted him, last night, and if he was on the West, if he was in the Pacific time zone, it was okay. But if he was here local, it was way too late to text him.
Yeah.
He didn't respond. I texted him this morning again. Again, if he's out there, it's way too early. If it's here, though, it was okay. But he said on the last text, sorry, I didn't get back to you soon. I was working out. So he's you got to
stay in shape.
He's doing all that. Yes.
But the hay is in the barn for the most part.
Yes, it is. You're right. Now,
well, unless you're a quarterback and Pittsburgh signs Aaron Rodgers or something.
Yes. Ross Bjork talked about this, and Tim and I we'll discuss. But I want to make clear. I think there are three schools of thought on this. Three ways to approach this. One is your feelings about it in the media, a feeling about it as a fan who watches at home, and a feeling about it a fan who goes to the game.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Bjork was saying, and Ohio State fans a lot of times last year, they wanted more night games, less noon kickoffs. Ohio State had a tremendously epic run of noon games, noon kickoffs, which because Fox has big noon, because the Big Ten and the Big Ten member schools agreed to this contract, so you take all this money from Fox to give Fox first-round draft picks on these games.
It's all about ratings, baby.
That's what it is. It's all about ratings.
Ohio State puts fannies in seats.
Yes.
And in front of the television.
So Ross Bjork, though, was saying that he wants more night games for Ohio State this year. Like I said, your view on it's going to depend on how it affects you. Tim, you're a longtime member of the media.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some media, did some stuff for the Dispatch. I didn't cover Ohio State.
I thought I was about to get an award.
Right. So it's if you're a media member, you more likely prefer noon games, right?
Absolutely, man, for all kinds of reasons. Yeah, I've been doing that tailgate show with 97.1 The Fan the last six years. I much prefer the morning, 8:30 to 10:30. Get in there, then watch the game. Get home about 6 or 7 and watch football.
I would say most media people would agree with you.
You don't get to do that for a 3:30 or an 8 o'clock start.
Right. I don't know when the Dispatch now goes to press it on Saturday nights or whatever, but I know that when it used to be the way when you and I were there, the noon games were much better because it would get into more editions than, say, the night
all the editions.
Yeah, all the editions.
Even the 3:30s did.
You're right, yes.
But now I think the Dispatch's deadline on Saturdays is like 4 o'clock.
Right.
So, but they do online, Bill Rabinowitz and Joey Kaufman, those guys.
So then the other stance is somebody who watches from home.
Right.
And I think most of those people would probably be okay with the night game.
Yeah.
If you get friends over, have a watch party at your house, whatever, and you've got all day to watch football, and then you're usually in no shape to do a whole lot more by the time the game kicks off, then sit there and watch it, and you don't have to battle traffic going home in all likelihood. It's fine and probably preferred to be at night because you get to watch a whole day of football before that.
And night games feel different. I mean, when you're at them, they feel different. I mean, the Tennessee, that was a college football playoff production.
Right.
It wasn't an Ohio State production, so to speak, but it was pretty cool, except it was really, really cold.
Right. It was cold, yes.
But the fireworks, et cetera, for that were what Ohio Stadium can be all about, the drones and all that kind of stuff. So, all have their place. For example, Ohio State and Michigan should always kick off at noon, just past noon. It didn't always kick off at noon. But once you had TV every year, able to televise the game, then it kicks, basically moved to a pretty much noon start, except for 2006, a game of the century,
game, yeah.
4 p.m. start.
Right.
That was a classic, but it didn't quite have that same feel. But you know what I mean? Tradition is really getting thrown out the window now for the most part anyway, with a lot to do with college sports, especially football. But I understand the argument for the PM start, except it used to be when you were on at night, way back in the old days, you were the only game.
Right, yeah.
Now you're not.
No, there's plenty of games.
And in fact, if one game gets out of hand, then people just click over to another game. So what have you accomplished?
So that's 1 and 2. Now 3, I'm going to have a 3A and a 3B. And that is the title will be if you're going to the game. But then after that, A is younger, B is older. Because I got to believe if you're younger, you'd like a noon or 3:30 start. Mm-hmm. If you're older, younger, you want 8 o'clock. Older, you want noon to 3:30.
Hey, did you already start? No, I'm just joking.
Yes, I did. So if you're a young guy, young person, I would think 8 o'clock is fantastic. You can tailgate all day long if you want, and then go to the game. And who cares if you get home? You got no responsibilities the next day in all likelihood. If you're someone from my generation, I would think you'd prefer a noon or a 3:30 kick there. Cole, you are much younger than Tim and I. Do you agree with that kind of assessment of how I would rank what fans would prefer?
Yeah, I definitely think the general consensus is that fans would rather the younger fans want more night games.
Right.
Just because of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You're under the lights. Like, that's always cool. Like, when you're a kid, it's cool to play under the lights. I definitely think it's kind of an overrated narrative, so I guess I'm the weird one here. But I think that it's kind of exciting just waking up and you're the first. You don't have to wait all day for your team to play. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of being lost in it, I guess, because it's so out of balance, because Ohio State plays so many noon games and so few night games. I think that's maybe the issue here, but I think it's got to be cool. The only thing that you're really risking is that if you lose at noon, you're not interested in watching any other college football the rest of the day, so that's the risk. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool to wake up and just watch your favorite team immediately and not have to wait all day for
I think the coach is like Ryan Day. I think he prefers, if you really pin him down, prefers noon starts. He understands the pageantry and the allure of the primetime games. But like Cole just said, get up, get out of bed, run a comb across your head, and head on down, have breakfast, and move on to the stadium.
It's a great Beatles reference there.
Yeah, exactly.
Day of the life.
You got to work it in, yesterday, but you got to work it in. There are all kinds of reasons why you want them and don't want them. If I was having a night game, I would prefer it to probably be a home game because the other team's going to be sitting in a hotel or wherever, if they got the 2-night minimum, waiting to just go to the stadium away from home, et cetera. So, of course, Ohio State will be too because they always congregate at a local hotel the night before. So there are all kinds of reasons of why it can affect even the way you play, So, but fan-wise, I understand what Ross Bjork is talking about, but do you want Ohio State Grambling at 7:30?
No, we don't want that. By the way, Cole said something no one's ever said before when they're around you and I, Tim.
What?
He said he's the weird one of the three of us. No, yes, sir. He's the weird. The three of us are right here. He said he's the weird one. That has never been uttered before. It's. I understand. Yeah, Bjork is appeasing the fans. He's trying to appeal to that. But I got to believe, look, for Ohio State, there's a lot of other reasons, though, why a noon game is better for Ohio State. If you look at things like
lighting,
security issues,
right, parking lot lighting.
If you've got people that are tailgating from early morning till late at night,
right,
it's a different crowd than early morning to noon.
Checkpoint Charlie going into the stadium.
So I think Bjork. I think Bjork is saying it to because the fans are complaining about it. He probably wants I'm okay with. I want more night games. I want more quality night games. Like you said, I don't want Ohio State Grambling on the Big Ten Network with a 7:00 kick. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Right.
Not saying they're doing that, but Ohio State Texas should be at night. I'd put Ohio State Penn State
the
tonight.
Premier game of the day.
I know, but the way big noon kickoff, the way Fox does things.
I know. That's why
if they get that first pick, and they get the first. I think the first 3 picks of games.
Well, that's why we were sitting there on pins and needles. And when was the Oregon game going to kick off last year?
Yeah.
Because it was clearly the premier game of the day, and but if it kicked off at noon Eastern, it would have been 9 a.m. On the Pacific, Pacific time zone. And they, by the way, they did have a game like that. What was that? That did that in was it USC hosted somebody? 2 years before?
It was like a 9 a.m. kick out there,
right?
Or whatever it was.
Nobody wants that.
No one wants that. No, of course not. No, but yeah. So we'll see what happens out of Ohio State. Like I say, Ohio State football this year. I hope that. I think that there's a lot of games that make sense to play at night. The Washington game on the road should be a night game, I think, also, when they're playing out there in Seattle. It makes sense. But
depending on who gets the game. But, yes, why wouldn't you make it the night game? I mean, Ohio State played at Wrigley Field last year, and that was a noon start Eastern time, but that made it 11 a.m. In Chicago, and ironically, 9/10 of the stadium was filled with Ohio State fans.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy.
How well Ohio State travels, and we'll continue to travel. But, so schedule this year, you've got the Texas game, then you got Grambling State, Ohio, the OU Bobcats here, then off at Washington would be a good one there. Minnesota here. At Illinois is going to be a fun game. Illinois is really good this year.
Yes.
They're going to be a challenge there. At Wisconsin, I don't want to play at Wisconsin tonight. I've seen enough of that, and I don't want to see, Chris Gamble slip. Again, and have that happen.
They won last time they were there, though.
I know they did, but that one goes back
the
to
last many times they've been there.
Penn State on November 1st here at Purdue, UCLA here, which could be the return, right, of Nico? Might have Nico back here.
Nico.
Hey, nighttime. 20 degrees. Nighttime, turn down the temperature to 20. Let's see what happens.
By the way, do you think Nico, what do you notice about the difference between the state of California and the state of Tennessee?
I can't think of much,
Yeah, I don't know.
Income tax, regular tax,
that's
cost of gas.
Yeah, it's a little something like that. Because I think NIL qualifies as income.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, you're right.
And
it does.
I think California's going to have a little bit more to say about that than Tennessee will.
Hey, those guys get a 1099. What do they get? 1099 for them for
I think so, yeah.
NIL? I would think so, right?
Yeah, I would think so, too.
So good luck with that on tax day.
Coming up in a couple of minutes here, with the NFL draft and range, we'll discuss some former Buckeyes that exceeded and some that fell short of our expectations. We'll do that next. Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me, or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top-Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax. And not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
Aaron, I've got an idea.
Is it a new invention?
Of course it is. That's why I'm known as Jerry the Genius.
Really? I've never heard anyone call you that.
Get Eco.
ECO. I've invented the hot water heater ambulance.
Does it have lights and sirens?
No.
It would be better if it had lights and sirens.
Get Eco.
ECO. So you agree that being without hot water is an emergency, right?
Of course I do. That's why we guarantee to replace your water heater the same day you call us.
But what if I call late in the afternoon?
Call us anytime before 5 p.m. and we'll get it installed that day.
Get Eco.
ECO. But what if after you get there, I change my mind and decide I want a tankless water heater instead of one like I had?
Then we'll install a tankless water heater for you instead of the one you had.
Same day?
Same day.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Go to geteco.com.
Question from a listener. Do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Fan Sports Saturday. Stick around. Next segment, we will close things out with Lathan Ransom. Here live on the Bryant Heating Cooling System Fan Guest Hotline.
One of the great tackles in Ohio State football history, baby. Second down, Caleb Downs flushed the guy out, and Lathan finished him off. You know what I call those two guys, right?
No.
My nickname for them as the season went on was the Sidewinders.
The Sidewinders?
Yeah, like on an F-16.
Yeah, sure.
They would just fire at the target.
Lathan was in studio a few times on Morning Juice. I know Bobby's had him on his podcast. He is destined for a post-professional football future in media.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
If he wants to be.
If he wants.
A guy like that,
he can do whatever he wants.
Could have a lot of options.
Yes, he could. But if whenever he decides to stop playing football, if he wanted to do that, he'd be damn good.
We were talking about Will Howard. Will Howard could instantly be an analyst.
Yep.
I mean, and be very good at it.
Yep, I agree. So I wanted to talk about, and this was a hard topic because, and you and I talked about it briefly off the air, but about Buckeyes that did better than we thought they would and some that did not. And a lot of the ones that did not, there were circumstances around it.
Why do we always have to talk about the ones that did not? Why?
I think it's just to balance it out.
Tito, I think we've done this before. I think this is
It might have been. This might be it. I don't know if it's that or not. It could be. Look, you and I are both old. I forget things half the time. But, when the guys that did not live up to their draft status.
Yeah.
Alonzo Spellman for me, Vernon Golston's another one. But anybody else, a lot of times there were injury issues of all that. Now Keith Byers,
Vernon Golston had the stats.
Yeah,
Alonzo Spellman had the look, had the body.
Yes, he had the body.
He did stick around for a long time because people kept thinking, they're going to get that out of him, and it didn't quite. Vernon just didn't fit, what the Jets were trying to do. I mean, and in a lot of ways, they tried to make him almost into a Vrabel kind of guy, you know. I mean, and it just didn't work. And and he moved on. I think he's a high school coach now and stuff. Does a hell of a job. But yeah, I mean, when you brought it up, the some of the guys that come to mind are maybe not guys you even thought of, but like John Hicks was as good a tackle as there was in college football, but he was banged up by the time he left Ohio State and injured and basically never really hit his stride, in the National Football League. Chris Ward, who followed him, was pretty good for a while in the NFL, but not what you thought he might end up being from a dominant standpoint. And, of course, Art Schlichter had his own challenges.
Right. Fourth pick overall in the draft.
Yeah, and was right there with Elway in terms of what people thought they could be.
Mm-hmm.
And but then he had his challenges off the field, which have been quite delineated, including in a book by my buddy, who I keep bringing up all the time, Jeff Snook. And so there are reasons why, Archie Griffin won 2 Heisman trophies, but just didn't fit, really what the NFL – I don't think he ever got a real shot in the NFL, but then he also got banged up some. And so, there are all kinds of reasons why, guys. Andy Katzenmoyer gets hurt. Andy Katzenmoyer is as good a linebacker as you've seen play at Ohio State.
Right.
I don't know if you agree. Not the, there are a lot of guys we can throw into that group. Randy Gradishark,
Merrick Spielman, those
Chris
guys. Yeah.
Spielman, Tom Cousineau, Cody Simon.
Two guys right there.
Yep, you're right. Hawk and Carpenter. Yeah.
Hawk and Carpenter, right on down the line. Cody Simon, by the way. But yeah, I think they're all usually there's reasons, and a lot of it comes down to physically, did they get banged up and maybe didn't get their shot like you would think they would. Who are you going to name?
Well,
Troy Smith?
Troy Smith's one, but the other guy I'm thinking of, and I'm not saying this guy had a long, great career. I base this more on what I saw him at his peak, but then he had the injury, and it forever changed the way he was going to play the position was Keith Byers.
Yeah.
Keith Byers.
But he stayed in the NFL for 15 years.
He's had a great career. I'm just saying, if you watch him that season when he should have won the Heisman, when Flutie stole it from him, if he would have won that season right there, that guy was going to be an all-time great running back.
Yes.
Now, he's still a really good player in the NFL for a long time.
Yes.
And but he was more of a receiving back. He caught passes out of the backfield more than the running thing.
Let me tell you how much he changed my life.
Okay, let's hear it.
1985, because I started covering the team in 84. I called Keith Byers untackleable. I mean, there was some stat that I worked up that I kept back when I really was into that kind of stuff where he wasn't tackled on about, I think 50 or 55% of his carries. Right. He got run out of bounds or they just stopped the pile.
Right.
I mean, it was nuts how good he was till he had that high ankle sprain at Wisconsin on the last offensive play, which really cost him the Heisman because he would have run up buku yards the next two games against Northwestern and Indiana before they played Michigan. He would have won the Heisman anyway, no matter, the Hail Mary from Doug Flutie. But the next year, without a doubt, overwhelming Heisman favorite. This is how he changed my life. I missed practice because Earl Bruce would let you go to practice and watch.
Right, watch the whole thing.
The whole time. And usually it was me and Moose and Tom Taberry there for the most. Anyway, long story short, that was when my wife and I moved from Upper Arlington to the house we live in now.
Okay.
That day was when he broke his foot, or broke the bone in his foot, or suffered a broken bone in his foot. So since then, I've never moved.
That's very, very selfless.
My transient life became entrenched. Right. And I'm never moving again because who knows what's going to happen. No, but the bottom line is, But here's a guy, they found a niche for him. I'm sitting in his basement the day of the draft and at his family's home over west side of Dayton. And there's a phone call, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles, the way I understand, and they asked if they draft him, would he be willing to have surgery and have a screw put in his metatarsal, which had not fully healed even then at that point. And he basically said no. His father was a minister, and Keith believed in letting things kind of
power of prayer and all that. Yes,
yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
Well, 10 minutes later, the Eagles drafted him anyway. and he ended up getting surgery later because he broke a bone, I think. But then they found a niche for him. Really, there's some argument that he should be borderline consideration for the Hall of Fame because he became that H-back dude. And because and played for 15 years and was a factor in the National Football League.
Dolphins and then Eagles and Dolphins. Or somebody else after that? Was there another?
Did he play for the Patriots at one time?
The Patriots,
Well, he was on he was on the Dolphins. He was in that Ace Ventura movie.
That's right. There's three quarterbacks I think of, and part of it's because I'm biased, I'm sure. But I really thought that Jermaine, Hoying, Troy Smith would all make a mark in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. They kind of did, all three of them. All three of them, but not like you're talking about.
Yeah, I thought they'd all be mid-range, middle of the pack kind of starting quarterbacks.
I think Jermaine was bitten by the fact he was always considered to be, frail is not the right word, but a little bit smallish.
On the smaller side, yeah.
Not like Drew Brees,
right?
Not like Doug Flutie, but smallish. But man, could he deliver strikes?
Yeah.
Bobby Hoying you're always a product of who you play with.
Right.
Finally,
sure.
And I don't think he ever played with a really great team.
Didn't play with Terry Glenn again.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the bottom line was, you got to have more than that. And he got kind of banged up also. And then Troy. Remember, Troy was going to be the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. He was going to be the guy.
Right.
Got an illness, and a guy named Joe Flacco.
Flacco, yes.
took his place.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco, who, by the way, just signed with the Cleveland Browns, right?
Right, yeah, he's still around. Yeah, still around.
My point is, but Troy had it all, in my opinion. And then he got into that brouhaha with Mike Singletary on the sidelines, talk about a nut job on the sidelines with the San Francisco 49ers, and that pretty much ended it. Dude, remember 2 years later, he's at Ohio State, and they didn't have a quarterback to throw on pro day?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And they rolled him out there, and next thing you know, all these scouts are talking to him after the thing's over.
Right.
It was one of the more incredible things I've ever seen. He was throwing those, people have heard me say it before, those Hollywood passes, man. They just look so beautiful in the air. I liked him as a leader. He could make things happen with his feet, right on down the line.
Does Beanie still hold the all-time single-game record for the Cardinals? I think he does. He rushed like
I think he might.
227 or something like that.
But there's another guy, injuries, you never know.
Achilles, right? Well, he got hurt, and then when he's trying out for the Ravens.
I don't have it all memorized, but
he was trying out he was at a tryout with the Ravens after the Cardinals released him.
Yeah.
And, he had 1,000 or 1,100 yard season with the Cardinals. He's another guy with that great size, 6'2", 220.
Yeah.
Ran like a 4'6" or 4'7". But then while working out for the Ravens, trying out for them, doing a workout for them, he tears his Achilles.
Yeah.
And, at that time,
have you been around Beanie?
Yeah.
You ever seen a more naturally big guy?
No.
Can you imagine making a living tackling guys like Beanie Wells?
Beanie, he was such a beast. And the speed he had. And what he had also, what I loved about Beanie, watching him play at Ohio State. And I know it says times like a 4.6 or 4.7 was the 40. That doesn't matter. He had game speed.
Yeah.
You saw it in those runs against Michigan where he would just outrun guys.
I'm not sure that 4.6, 4.7 is accurate because remember the LSU game or the first play?
Yeah.
The first early play where he takes it to the house. Beanie could, like you said, Keith Byers was the same way.
Yeah.
When he was different from running a 40-yard dash, and when someone was chasing.
You're right. It was 4.38. That's what he ran at the prime. I was way off on that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought he was 4.6. I got to confuse somebody else.
Yeah.
But he went at 4.38 40. Beanie, if you're listening, or if you're a friend of Beanie's, you're going to tell him I said that. Just please also make sure you put the apology in it too, because Beanie is still here local and he's still very big. He was 6'1", 235 at the combine.
Yeah.
In a 4.38. But I'm telling you, he was so stupid fast.
But he was big, bud.
Yes, he was big. He that 1 year in 2011, he rushed in 14 games, had 1,047 yards, 10 touchdowns. I just besmirched him.
He got banged up all through his career, though. Once he got to Ohio State, remember he was banged up several times.
Yeah,
and, but what he could have been. That's why with Ashton Genty right now, I think he's a hell of a player.
Yeah,
but boy, he's carried the ball a lot.
He had those. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right.
Travion Henderson, with the greatest thing ever happened was Quinshon Judkins showing up.
By the way, best thing, Quinshon Judkins. Yes.
And vice versa.
Judkins was averaging like 23 touches a game or 24 touches a game in his first 2 years there.
Can't do that anymore.
No, you can't. So him coming here was the best thing for him as well. They both made each other some money this season, for sure, by being on the same squad there. All right, make sure you stick around. Coming up next, Lathan Ransom's going to join us, talking about what's going on this week with him before he gets ready for the NFL draft. That's coming up. Fan Sports Saturday on the Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well loved. And well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You can save big on 12 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or 7-Up. Select varieties or buy 2, get 3 free with your card. Limit 10. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Your husband is pretty handy to have around. He makes the world's best mac and cheese.
Lunch is ready.
He's in the Tickle Monster Hall of Fame. And he can teach anyone how to throw strikes. But a busted pipe and a basement full of water?
Honey, I think we need a plumber.
Is a little out of his league. That's where a homeowner's policy from Shelter Insurance comes in handy. We'll help get your house back in order and your husband back to what he does best.
Find an agent at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Attention kingdom-seeking business professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors in Columbus. Are you ready to experience a life-changing event that will elevate your faith, finances, and future in 2025? Then you won't want to miss this. Join us for Life Search, featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center for an extraordinary one-day event that will empower you to transform every area of your life through the power of faith. Prepare to be inspired by an incredible lineup of champions, including college football champions Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, three-time national champion head coach Urban Meyer, sportscaster Kirk Herbstreit, two-time national football champion Tim Tebow, and more. These champions have experienced firsthand how faith transforms lives, and they'll be joining Life Search to share their powerful stories and insights on how to integrate faith into your business, finances, and every aspect of your journey. Seats are selling fast to this unforgettable event, so don't wait. Head to lifesearch.com now to secure your tickets before they're gone. Life Search featuring Champions of Faith, Saturday, May 10th at the Schottenstein Center. Don't miss out. Your transformation begins here. Visit lifesearch.com today.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
And the top overall pick in this year's draft is the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus. That's right, it's number one in my heart. This is Scotty Vegas, and we're hosting a special draft show and watch party starting at 7 p.m. Thursday, April 24th for the first round of the draft. Watch and place wagers on the picks with over 30 kiosks, contests, prizes, and a live show at 7 at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older to enter. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Bishop and Friends.
It was impossible. Nobody knew. You had to blinker. I still blinker just to be safe, like give them a little flash, like, hey, you go, I got you, because I don't trust people.
Bishop and Friends, sponsored by Diamond Seller.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on The Fan.
1-800-GOT-JUNK makes space for possibilities.
When our clean, shiny truck arrives, it's the sign of a new beginning, a clean start, a breath of fresh air.
All the animals start giggling, a rainbow appears, and music fills the air.
Your best friend calls with happy news. Every table has fresh flowers on it, and your nights are full of candlelight.
We bring the springtime.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
If you thought 60 was the new 40, I've got one for you. Did you know 85 is the new 1? That's right, 1. Central Ohio's premier lawn and garden center, Oakland Nursery, is turning 85 this year, and they remain Central Ohio's leader in quality plant material and great value. Get into one of Oakland's 4 big garden centers and experience Oakland quality, cultivated over 85 years of serving you. Oakland Nursery in Columbus, Dublin, Delaware, and New Albany. If you haven't been to Oakland Nursery, you simply haven't been to a nursery.
Thinking about buying your first home? Now, with Third Federal, you can buy your first home and pay no PMI. Hi, I'm Mark Stefanski, Chairman and CEO of Third Federal. Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. And you may not realize PMI doesn't protect you. It only protects the lender in case of default. But at Third Federal, you can buy a home with just 5% down and no PMI. Plus, first-time home buyers get $750 off a closing cost. So if you're thinking about buying your first home, go for it and visit thirdfederal.com.
Even before you find a home, lock in 6.625%, APR 6.685% on a 30-year fixed-rate purchase mortgage. Visit thirdfederal.com or call 1-800-3rd-FED today. APR reflects 15% down for $350,000 loan amount. Rate requires automatic payment program and is subject to change. Restrictions apply. See conditions for closing cost coupon at thirdfederal.com/FTHB. Equal housing lender.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Saturday.
Fan Sports Saturday, final segment of the program, and what a way to go out for the Saturday show. We've got Lathan Ransom joining us now on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline, getting ready for the draft. Lathan, tell me your mood right now. Are you nervous? Are you calm? Are you just trying to not think about it at all, or what's going on with you?
Man, I feel like a little bit of everything. I think that, I'm excited. I'm anxious.
And then I try not to think about it too much, man, because I just understand, you know, whatever's going to happen is meant to happen. And, you know, I trust, you know, in God's plan.
Hey, Lathan, this is Tim May, man. I'm just wondering, as you look back on your season, this past season, what do you think as you sit here right now waiting for the draft, what are the questions you think you answered just in this past season about yourself? Number one, I mean, I'll throw some answers out there to you. I think number one, you further enhance yourself as a leader. You further enhance yourself as a playmaker. What do you think that you prove to the NFL scouts now as they watch video on you and decide, are we taking this guy or not?
Yeah, man, I think that you kind of hit on the dot. I think I grew as a leader this past season, and I think that showed in my play. I grew as a playmaker, man. I grew as someone with me and as the team, just someone who knows how to face adversity, man, with, you know, what us and the team have went through this year, what I've been through, you know, in the past couple of years I've been through Ohio State. And then, you know, I'm a hard-nosed player, man, that's willing to do whatever for the team out there, and I think that I proved I'm one of the best safeties in the country.
Lathan, have you heard like a range from either NFL executives or from some of your representatives on where you might get drafted? Like what round? What?
Yeah, I've heard, you know, ranges, and I try not to pay too much attention to it because I don't want to, you know, get my hopes up for something. If it doesn't happen, now I'm mad and understand why not, or, you know, think too low and then get, like, at the end of the day, I know that I'm going to get drafted, and, you know, whatever team drafts me, I'm going to be so excited and be the biggest fan of that team because they were taking an opportunity on me.
Yeah, as I always counsel you guys, Lathan, it only takes one team to draft you, not 32, you know? It's not a popularity contest. It's just somebody take me and I'll show you what's up. Hey, I wanted to ask you, man, I know you've been asked this a million times, but do you get a spark or a tingle when you think about that second down play that you and Caleb pulled off against Texas, which really, you know, put the whole snowball in motion? But the fact of how y'all reacted there, in my opinion, if I'm an NFL team, I'm looking at how, not just how you reacted, but then you made the play. You understand there's a big difference. A lot of guys can recognize, but can they get there, you know? And does it still give you a little bit of a tingle knowing just how crucial that play was and what it meant and what it led to?
Yeah, man, I think it was an exciting play. I think that, you know, being on our defense this year, we made defense made a bunch of big plays in crucial moments, especially backed up on that goal line. I think just never, you know, folding under that pressure. And then, you know, Coach Day, my strength coaches, and my DB coaches, Coach Wall and Coach G, did everything they can to prepare me and Caleb to go out there, you know, and make plays in crucial time when the team needs it. And I think that was a great example of it. You know, a great safety duo making another great play.
Yeah, and don't you get a sense that you know, it's you almost want somebody from that team. If I'm an NFL team, I want somebody from a special team like that in my locker room. You know, it's that's part and parcel to it too. I mean, you showed at the biggest moments you could make a play, but also you were part of something special, a team that came together and got things done, right? That can be infectious if it's used the right way, can it?
Yeah, yes, sir. I think that, you know, we've been blessed to me and the rest of my teammates to have great locker room guys, and, you know, that understand what it takes to win. I think, you know, over the 5 years I've been here, I learned, you know, what it takes, the little details and every step it takes, you know, to be successful at the highest level, and especially against, you know, the best teams. And I feel that anybody that's drafted a bunch of Buckeyes at this draft, man, are going to get a bunch of locker room guys and guys that are winners. And, you know, I think you can't ask for more than that.
Lathan, we'll get you out of here on this one. But I know the NFL is going to be difficult for any player coming in. The number one draft pick to the last draft pick to the free agent, NFL is going to be difficult. But I wonder, do you think you've undergone the biggest adversity and the biggest hill to climb that you may ever have to climb in your football career this past season, with the loss to Oregon, the loss to Michigan, and then, you know, all the naysayers, and I know you try to block them out, and I'm sure you do a great job of that, but the naysayers are out there, you know, calling for Ryan Day's job and saying how, you know, Will Howard wasn't the guy and this team underperformed, all that, and then to go and do what you did. It seems to me that might be the most difficult thing you'll ever do in football.
Yeah, I think, you know, I can't speak on, you know, the NFL because I haven't played there yet, or haven't, you know.
It'll be easy for you. You got it. It's cake.
Yeah, I don't think that's true, but I think, you know, the adversity we faced this year was with the way that the playoffs work and stuff. It's the most thing that's going to be most similar, to what the NFL is like. Even though the NFL has about, you make it on a run like we did, it's like 6 more games, 7 more games, a big difference. But just to think about, a small portion that we were able to do, having 2 losses, still going out there and then going on a run playing against, the 4 best teams that were in them playoffs and get to or 3 best teams, however many it was, and then get to play against them and be successful against them week after week after week, having to prepare for a top 5 team. That's going to prepare you, I think, better than anything else for the NFL. So I'm glad that we were able to participate in that this year and be as successful as we were, and write our story for being the first team to win the 12 game playoffs.
Yeah, Lathan, I think you coming back from what happened to you in the Rose Bowl is as big as anything else you've done, because you took it to another level after that. Real quick, if I was an NFL team, I would take you and I would put you on the top of my defense and let you recognize plays and go make plays. And Jim Knowles, had that great line about you. You can see the forest for the trees. That's not something everybody that everybody can say they can do, right? I mean, you have an idea of seeing stuff almost before it happens, right? I mean, I'm not sure everybody's like that. I know they're not.
Yeah, I feel that, I've been blessed with, the work I put in, off the field, but also I think with great instincts, man. I think I have some of the best football instincts on the field at all times. But that also comes from preparation. I think Coach G, Coach Walt helped me build the best, routine that helped me and the rest of the DBs prepare week in and week out. I mean, I think, me and Caleb and the rest of the DBs watch more film than arguably anyone in that building, just preparing and seeing little things that when you just watch it on tape, you would say that my instincts, or you think that I already knew that play, but it's from preparation, man, and then, just being a football player.
Lathan, we appreciate the time and short notice. Thank you so much. I know you're very busy this week, and enjoy your Easter, and we're praying for the best for you to happen on draft day.
Thank you, guys, man. I appreciate you guys.
That was Lathan Ransom. I could talk to the guy all day.
You know what's too bad about the draft is draft days.
I know. It used to be draft day. It'd be like 2 days, like Saturday at noon, and then Sunday at 9 a.m.
I like
or something.
this guy a lot, though. This guy's a playmaker.
Yes.
Yeah. He's in the right place at the right time 99% or 98% of the time. Let's say I don't want to make it that close to 100.
But a lot of the feelings I have about him, the same ones I have about Will Howard. That even Will Howard, even if he never becomes a great starting quarterback, let's say it never happens for him, he's still going to be, he can sit and hold the clipboard, be a fantastic backup quarterback and teammate that can go in and play on a dime.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with Lathan can do it all. I'm telling you, this kid's going to be great. I say kid. Anyway, thanks so much to all our guests today. Albert Breer, John Gerber. We had Birmingham on. We had Lathan Ransom on. Thank you to you, Tim May. Thank you, Cole. Thank you to all the listeners. We appreciate it. Coming up next, so we got game day, followed by Reds-Orioles action. See if the Reds keep the bats hot against Baltimore. Hunter Green on the mound. That's next. 97.1 The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay. Moving up payday so you could get your money faster. Up to 2 days faster. And there's no cost. It's your money, right? So stop playing the waiting game. It's just one more way we're looking out for people every day. Is your bank looking out for you? Maybe it's time to switch. Visit your neighborhood Huntington branch or make the switch at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Can I get Mega Millions?
Good choice. Mega Millions is bigger than ever. Jackpots now start at $50 million and grow faster.
Sounds mega.
And now, every game has a built-in multiplier. So all non-jackpot prizes are multiplied between 2 and 10 times.
Bigger prizes, better odds, and just $5? Give me 2.
Mega Millions is bigger and better than ever. Get your tickets today at your local Ohio lottery retailer. Lottery players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Let's go to the floor with some late-breaking developments on the markets. Jim?
Up things are down, down things are up.
Sounds like things
You don't understand. Right is left, lemons are sweet, spaghetti is cold, the milk is warm.
Okay, but are you seeing anything that maybe smart-minded money people should know about?
Yeah. Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Probably one of the most stable things you can do is an Apex Pros air conditioner tune-up.
Air conditioner tune-ups, you say?
Oh, yeah. Apex Pros knows most expensive summer breakdowns can be prevented by getting a tune-up now.
Yes, it's known that a tuned-up AC lowers energy bills, which is important to...
Oh, this is unbelievable.
What, big sell-off? Huge increase?
No, I spilled coffee on my new shirt. Anyway, tune-up save on energy bills, plus make your air conditioner last years longer.
Good to know Apex Pros keeps things stable thorough and predictable.
That's on my pants, too. This is the worst day. This is historic. You know that.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Hi, this is Bob Masheter from Dick Masheter Ford. Thank you to all of Central Ohio as we head towards 60 years of doing business in the Buckeye State. Dad opened up in 1967 simply trying to offer a better way to buy a car, and we've been working ever since to serve our neighbors. We have served you through wars, recessions, and even a Chinese virus. Here is to serving you and your kids and your grandkids for the next 60 years, except on Sundays when we're closed, because it's the right thing to do. Still 24/7 at masheterford.net. Thanks.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
In-betweens are made for pizza. In between meals, meetings, thoughts, that's pizza time. Stop at Speedway and get 2 hot, delicious slices of pizza and a Mountain Dew 20-ounce for $5 with Speedy Rewards. The convenience stores of Speedway.